got some good tea, bro. Should have had some tea.
Maybe in a minute.
Boom, we're live. Mr. Jared Lamb. What's up, brother?
The house, man.
What happened to the mustache? Just again, the microphone.
The mic.
Just try to stay
I took the mustache off several years ago. I grew that mustache out in a way to kind of honor my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my dad always rocked a stash, man. He was like, he had that look, you know. He had that Sam Elliott look, that actor,
that 80s porn star look.
That he had it, man. He had it, and that was my thing, man. I grew out that stash, and I was like, I read this saying that said, "No one strikes fear into the enemy like a dude that looks ready to shoot a 70s porn." So I was just rocking that tombstone thing. But I'm not a facial hair guy, man. I've tried. You look great with facial hair. See, I can't do it, man. I grow it, but I have to get rid of it, man. So I'm thinking about growing out the mullet, though, like the 80s mullet. Now.
Jesus.
I'm about keeping it short and just rocking that mullet.
Where are you getting these ideas?
Just it's retirement, man. Shit happens to your brain, and you just start thinking like, you know, what can I do today? You know.
Yeah.
Yep. So
grow a mullet. Do me a favor, man. You're fading out a little bit. If you could want to just like lift this thing up a bit.
Right there.
Just to get a little bit closer to you. Yeah, that'll work.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds better. Cool. There you go. Yeah. It's good to see you.
Good to be here.
It's been a while. Retirement's working for you. For people who don't know, you just retired from the El Paso Police Department.
Yeah, I did 22 years.
22 years. Yeah. Jesus, man.
In fact, what's today? The 30th?
Yes.
Yeah, I retired January 29th of this year.
So it's been a few months.
About 4 months, man. Yeah, 4 months.
Well, like, you're looking slim.
I'm, you know,
retirement's working for you.
You know, because I'm not out eating that crap we eat all day on
cop
duty.
Diet?
The cop diet, man. You know, I don't. I'm so, you know.
Is that true? Coffee and donuts?
Well, we'll go with coffee. You know where the donut thing came from, right?
No.
You don't know. For anyone watching who taught cops and donuts, well, you know, back in the day, all that was open 24 hours was the donut shop. So that's where the cops would go. You know,
graveyard
shift, and just go hang out at the donut shop. You know, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's where it came from, cops and donuts. But it's very true.
Well, what do they call it when you join, when you graduate the academy and you put on 50 pounds? They call it the equipment belt, or what do they call it? Because the bigger your waist, the bigger the belt, so you can carry more stuff.
I don't know about
like
that.
You can carry more magazines and more tasers and more handcuffs. You got more room. Like a skinny guy can only have a few things on his belt.
That's all you need. You don't need, you know. But something happens when you graduate. You start, you know. You enter that cop lifestyle. You know, you start expanding. Like, I don't got to go to the gym. I got a badge, right? I got to go to the gym. You know, this is mentality.
I have a gun. I don't need to chase somebody. I just shoot him.
Yeah, that happens.
That's a problem.
Little bit.
Sometimes.
A little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy to me that you have to pass a physical and a shooting exam to become an officer, but then once you become an officer, you never have to do that shit again.
Well, you have to maintain your quals. As far as the PT standards, I don't know how they're doing that. Like they used to implement this thing where maybe once or twice a year you had to do a physical fitness thing to maintain, and if you didn't pass, there were some repercussions. But again, like a lot of things, they abolished that out. As far as your shooting standards, no, you have to qual maybe twice a year with M4 shotgun.
Do you really?
Oh yeah. Same with your taser. Better. Yeah, you have to, you know. Now using common sense, that's stuff you need to polish up on. You know, when to do this stuff, you know, but anyway.
So the physical standards, though, it's crazy to me. Like, you've got a bunch of officers out there who are incapable of actually apprehending a suspect just physically. Like, you train jiu-jitsu, you work out, you've always done this. So I bet that's helped you tremendously.
You know what helped me?
Being nice.
Absolutely. I taught at the police academy for several years as an adjunct instructor, and the courses we taught were emotional wellness and emotional health and growth and development and being an officer and de-escalation tactics and communication. And I used to tell these recruits and police officers, one of the most impactful and powerful things you have is listening and empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these, you know, a lot of people in this profession don't get it because they think that means you're soft. No, you're not soft. You know, you can still do your job effectively. And that's what worked for me, was listening and being empathetic. And a lot of times I felt like I could just hand handcuffs to people and go, just cuff yourself. We're going to go. We're in this together and you'll be all right.
Have you ever done that?
No, I didn't, but I had that. I felt like I had that rapport. I was always cool with everybody, man.
Yeah.
And it didn't take in anything from, the macho or this image, that some people think they have to have. Like, it's not your identity. And like in retirement, a lot of guys, a lot of people in this profession, they retire and then they just jump right into the next law enforcement job. And I didn't do that, and it's only been 4 months. It's not a long time. I retired. I knew I was done. I didn't want to be a cop anymore. I'm like, well, I'm only 49 and I'm pretty blessed to do this, to make this decision. I love being a cop. I had a blast, man. It was a great time. But I'm like, I want to retire. I want to take some time for me, as they say. I want to, see what's out there and just do me. And if I find myself coming back into the profession in a year and a half, I'm glad I took this time because it's growth. I can say, I gave myself time to grow and, try and figure some things out.
Do you think that, though, my point about the physical training is like with officers who are out of shape, weak, physically weak, which I think really leads to being psychologically weak as well, because you always feel threatened by everybody, especially when you're in a position where you're trying to arrest people who are breaking the law. We know that when you hang out with a bunch of guys who are insecure about themselves because they're physically weak, it's a different kind of man than when you're hanging out with guys who train in martial arts, guys who work out, and they have that confidence that they can handle themselves. Do you think that having a lot of officers out there who are weak like that is maybe contributing to having certain situations escalate more than they otherwise would? Like, if the officer had the confidence to tell somebody, hey man, like, we don't, like, just to talk to them with confidence, and the officer have the confidence in themselves that they don't need to draw their firearm. They can take this guy down and arrest him. Right. Don't you think it would actually make interactions between the police and people more civil?
I don't know if that has to do with the physical fitness part. I always said, working out, you feel good about yourself. You put that uniform on, you feel real good. You got to look sharp. And there are people in the profession that just let themselves go. Yeah. And, I often, I went through a phase in my career where I got pretty overweight. I let myself go. And I remember being sized up by people. Like, this is just a typical fat cop.
Right. There's marshmallow in a police costume.
Yeah. And they, and if it came down to, chasing somebody and, you're going to gas out, you're going to burn out. You have to maintain some kind of, physical fitness regimen. Cause I think it helps with the mental part of it too. It gives you an outlet. The jiu-jitsu for me, people often ask, like, have you ever used jiu-jitsu? And I'm like, they want to hear, like, I threw some like flying armbar on some dude. And I'm like, no, man, this ain't Hollywood. I said it in a different way. I said, yeah, I use jiu-jitsu, but it helped me here, it helped me in the mind. It helped me, jiu-jitsu changed everything for me. I've been, the day before I retired, January 20, my last day was January 29th, January 28th, I got my brown belt. And I've kind of felt like, maybe this is an interesting transition. I've been training 9 years, sat out a little bit with COVID and I had a couple surgeries, knee and my arm, but I stayed in it. I was thinking about was just getting back to the mats, but for jiu-jitsu, and anybody, any martial art, you have to find something. I think it helps. I always call it the balance. You have to have a balance. You're a peace officer. You're not a street fighter. You're not a gunslinger in the Wild Wild West. You're a peace officer and you have an obligation to the people. And I mean that, and hands down. If something happens, that fear kicks in, and I often called it, so you get some of these officers that they start barking real loud, like a little dog behind the fence.
Yeah.
And if you just walk up to that dog and say, I'm coming on your property, you're going to see this guy start to cower back a little bit. And you'll see, officers, they start to escalate if they start to lose control. And I don't know if that's about the physical part of it, because there's some big boys out there that could probably get down. But for me, it was all about listening and empathy and just trying to quell the whole thing.
Mm.
If somebody said to me, I don't like you guys, I can't stand you cops, and I would tell them, well, I work with these motherfuckers, man. I get it. You know what I mean?
That's genius.
Yeah, I get it. So let's just put that behind us.
Because now you're on his team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you till they're blue in the face, it's all about the community. It is, and I got nothing against, and any cop out there will probably get what I just said. They'll go, yeah, man. You could have, 8 cops there doing their thing and they're good dudes, and you get 2 show up and they're just going to fuck up the whole scene. You're like, get these guys out of here. And then that's just go, man, get out of here, but that's an interesting topic. It's a big thing right now, police reform. And people often ask me, what do you think police reform is? And I'm like, well, I can tell you what it's not. It's not about defunding, and it's not about taking powers away. It goes right down to how you're hiring, again, how you're training, how you're selecting your supervisors, and accountability, and you just got to weed out the bad ones, man. Just get rid of the bad ones.
I think you have to.
You have to. And, don't worry about, whatever the upper echelon of this profession is worried about. You got to get rid of them.
I think one of the things that ties into police reform that I think is critical is a national registry for that, like a reporting, a place where you could report cops who have been fired for breaking certain rules, because then you can't just leave one department, move to another city, and then start.
That happens a lot, man. Well,
it's like those Catholic priests, they get caught raping kids in Italy, and then they just move them to Spain, and then they keep raping over there.
I've heard that. They move them to some place else. As far as the law enforcement world, I think they're pretty good with those background checks they do. If you have a pattern of behavior, there are guys who jump from agency to agency to agency to agency, and you'll see that pattern of behavior follow them. And you'll see that usually with maybe the smaller departments. They just jump around, and it's and it comes down to one thing, man. And it's, everyone's about this whole racist cop. And I've told people, you got something far worse than racist cops. Let's get over that. You have something far worse. This is what you need to work on. You have egotistical, pompous, arrogant pricks out there with a badge and a gun. Absolutely.
That's a problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's not a race thing. It's an ego thing. And I've said the most detrimental thing to anybody, and since I knew cops and did this for over 20 years, the most detrimental thing to a cop was his own ego. That's what's going to get him in trouble, and so once they can deal with that, you'd have probably some pretty good people out there. But ego is, and we all have it. It's just what level do you have it in check?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's what, going back to jiu-jitsu, that's what it did for me. I'm an egotistical cop anyway. I was always pretty cool with people, and I dealt with, humor was a big thing for me, just relating to people, but
you're working it like a salesman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I think that's a very smart approach. Keeps you safer, keeps people safer.
Exactly.
You don't have to always be looking over your shoulder when you go to have dinner somewhere, because somebody might be there that's mad at you for arresting
that's
them
happened,
or
man.
their brother.
That's happened. And this town, El Paso, is a funny town with that. It's a great city. It's a huge city, but you can be somewhere, and I've been recognized. I've been confronted.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So
how'd that go?
Man. Well, for the most part, I've had people come up and go, "Hey, do you remember me?" And you're just sitting there going like, "Fuck."
You're like, I either wrote this guy a citation or I put him in jail.
Because I've had my moments where, let's just say, I'm glad there was no camera phones, man. I'm glad this is a whole other time, but I'm going like, fuck, man. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm sitting there eating with my family or my daughter or something, like, well, you arrested me, dude. I just, you were cool, man. And I'm like, thanks, dude. But I've had one time where this dude walked up and Albertson's up here, and he tried to pull some shit, but it didn't have anything to do with being a cop. It was something totally different. He just knew I was a cop and he just wanted to get confrontational.
So you never had an interaction with him
No,
as a police officer?
never did.
But he just recognized
He
you
recognized
and he
me,
wanted to start some shit. You were off duty?
Yeah, I was off duty. And
how did that go down?
well, this dude walks up. I'm sitting here like in the meat section or something without in Albertsons. And this dude walks up. He goes, "Hey, you remember me?" I'm like, "No, man, I have no idea who you are." He goes, "We'll take care of this another time. I'll respect that you're with your daughter." I was, "Well, motherfucker, no, you don't come talking shit like that. Who are you, man?" He goes, "Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it." So I'm starting to try to, again, the ego. I'm like telling him, "Fuck you, man. Who are you? Don't come talking shit." And I tell my daughter, go a few aisles down, and then I'm getting confrontational. And I read something, it had to do with terrorism, but it goes with everybody. Like the terrorists don't have to play by the rules. I have to play by the rules. And I'm thinking, well, I'm a cop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if I wail on this dude and whoop his ass, now I'm in trouble. And they're going to go, well, you're a cop and this and that.
He threatened your daughter. Fuck him.
He didn't really threaten her, but he's just talking some smack, But in hindsight, I'm going to jump ahead here.
Don't jump ahead. I want the details.
I'm going to get to. I should just beat the shit out of the guy, and we would have sorted it out later. But I'm thinking, well, and I'm instigating this guy. I'm challenging this dude, and some other guy walks up at the time to him, and he goes, "Dad, look what this guy's doing to me." I'm like, "Man, don't be a bitch, man. Don't call your daddy, man. Fuck you, man." So I said it, and I'm not one about to go, "Well, I'm a cop. I won't do that. I didn't carry my badge with me. I didn't do that." But naturally, I'm thinking, I must know this guy. What's this dude all about? So I said, "Does this have to do with me being a cop?" He goes, nah, bro. And his dad says, "You're a police officer?" I go, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "Let me see your credentials." I go, so I showed him. He asked for him. I showed him. I had my ID. He tries to take it from me. I'm like, "Man, what's up with you?" Don't, So they're talking among each other. It's getting heated. And I said, enough's enough. So I call for units. And units show up. And making a long story short, man, really, a supervisor walks up. He goes, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what did I do?" So this punk's coming up, talking some shit. He's being a fucking asshole in front of my kid. And what did I do?
I mean, he straight up threatened you.
Yeah. I said, "What did I do? I did the right thing." And he says to me, "Shh, don't be cussing. I don't want anyone to get offended by this." Fuck out of here. So
yeah, how about you getting offended?
Yeah,
like, fuck that guy.
Yeah. That's part of police reform. You don't look at me like I was the problem. I had to play by the rules. Like I said, I didn't take it to the, I didn't whoop this dude's ass. I didn't, or try to do something and end up getting hurt. My daughter hurt. I'm going to call for units. I ain't playing this game. The guy ended up having a criminal warrant for his arrest. And it turns out he was a distant relative of my ex-wife. And
Wow.
And he wanted to challenge me on this bad divorce we had,
Wow.
Yeah, that's all it came down to, man. And it was just dramatic and it was stupid. And so he tried to tell these officers that I had broken into his house. And they were like, "No, dude, try again. You didn't break into your house." I'm like, "Where did that come from?" He's doing whatever he could. And he had dad all worked up. And
so how old is this guy?
At this time, this was probably...
He's mouthing off to you?
Yeah, this was about 2012, 2013. And he must have been probably in his early 20s then.
See, man, I'd have a hard time. Like I couldn't do the job of a police officer.
Right.
I'd probably be more suited for like the job of a spy, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But a police officer, I can't do it because, like you said, you got to play by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of rules.
Yeah, a lot of liability.
And in that case, I'd have thrown that motherfucker through the.
And you know what? In hindsight, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I should have. And I should have. And I just said, well, if my department's going to show up and talk to me like this, I should have just beat the dude's face in.
Were they covering their ass?
I don't know what it was. I don't know. They
didn't want the public.
It would have never even gotten it. It
reflecting on them.
It would have never gotten there. But I'm just like, dude, don't come to me like, what did I instigate this? Like, no, man. It was pretty shitty, man. Pretty shitty.
Now, what do you think would have happened if you did knock him out? If he as soon as he said, "You're with your daughter, we'll take care of this another time."
If I would have if you just
laid him out,
I probably would have been arrested.
Yeah,
absolutely. I probably would have been charges dropped. once it all was said and done. But I would have to gone through some bullshit.
Why do you think charges would have been dropped?
It probably would have not because I'm a cop, because of the situation. You know, they would have done their part. Let's arrest them. Let's cover their butts. You know, but once the lawyers got involved and said, "Hey, man, you know, this is kind of a self-defense thing here. He's a cop. You know, you walk around a little hyper-vigilant every now and then, like you said, sit in the restaurant looking around with your back to the wall."
That's another thing I couldn't do.
Yeah, you don't need that mindset all the time. You know, you need to let it go.
Well, see, I have that mindset already. Naturally.
Yeah, well, shit. The times are nuts, and they're just getting.
Well, just since I was a kid, man, anytime I'm walking down the street, I'm looking around me. I'm trying to keep an eye on, like, that person looks like he might be dangerous. You know, I'm always looking around me. Anytime I go to a restaurant, I sit in the corner. I don't like having people behind me. I hate going to movie theaters for that reason. I'll wait until the movie's been out for like a month, because I can't be in a packed movie theater with a bunch of strangers in a dark room, and I have to be all the way at the top. I won't sit in the middle of it. Yeah, I can't do that stuff. So if I were a police officer, it would just be magnified.
Yeah.
It'd be, because I know that there are people out there who hate me. Luckily, there's nobody out there that hates me that I know of. There may be a couple of pricks that I've had some, you know, rough encounters with, but for the most part, I don't think anybody out there wants to hurt me.
I think I'm the same way. Like, you know, because I was always cool with people. And like I said, that incident I just talked about, that was not even police related. You know,
right?
He was just a little douchebag.
Well, he's also a moron, because he has a warrant for his arrest and he's mouthing off to a cop.
Yeah,
and what the fuck?
Not like he didn't even have like a traffic ticket. You know, I've arrested people who have traffic tickets, and I think it's the end of the world. I'm like, no, man, you're cool, bro. But then this guy had a criminal warrant for, like, I think he was writing hot checks or something.
Oh, geez.
And so I'm like, you know, and he wanted to apologize. And then he made a comment, because I had been a canine handler for so long. I had just left canine at this time. And he said, I know that's, you know, Officer Lamb, and he's a canine handler. So they start thinking like that I, you know, get a load of dope off this guy with my dog. What is this all about? And he finally came out and said, hey, man, he's married to like a distant relative at one time, and they had a bad divorce, and I wanted to confront him on it. Like, man.
How cool was that job?
Canine?
Being at the canine.
Oh, canine was the shit, man. Canine was cool, man. You know, that's what I wanted to do, was be a canine handler. I wanted to work a dog. There was something really cool about that man dog team when you showed up. You know, it's a challenging, like, I'll say it again, challenging assignment, but it was hands down the best thing I'd done in my career, you know? And, it was really cool, man.
It seems like that would be really fun.
It was.
Now you get this dog stays with you at all times.
Yeah.
They go home with you.
With our agency, you know, the dog goes home with you. They provide you a kennel. You got the truck, you know, you get all the equipment and gear, you know, it was like anything. You had an allotted vet you take them to for checkups. You had where you went and picked up your food. You know, they were very well taken care of.
That's awesome.
It's an awesome program. It really is.
There's a great video on the internet. I can't play it. I wish I could, but this officer is talking with this guy, and the guy slaps him. And the officer is just like cool as a cucumber. Just goes, all right, walks back to his truck and opens the door, and out comes the dog. And the dog just jumped on this guy and took him down in a matter of seconds.
Is it rehearsed or is it real?
No, I think it's real. It looked real. I don't know. I probably should have checked,
man.
But the officer's just like, all right, you gonna hit me? you gotta deal with my dog. I'm not gonna fuck with you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like I've had maybe you've had experiences like this, but I've had friends who are officers tell me that people are more likely to mouth off to you if you're pointing a gun at them than if you threaten them with your dog.
Let me tell you, man.
Once the dog comes out, they piss their pants.
The psychological factor of a dog. I had a couple calls where we had some burglaries. It wasn't like all the time, only a few, where I was going to send the dog in, and he's working it. It was at like this Dollar General, or like one of these dollar stores over off of Pershing, somewhere in Central, and they had a break in, and you know, my dog's name was Dutch, and he was working it, and he's working one part of the building. He's coming around. You hear this dude go, "Okay, man, I give up."
Yeah, they don't want to fuck with the dog.
The guy said, "Hey, man, you guys." When the officers initially got there and they were like clearing the building, he goes, "You guys walk right by me." He even tells one of them, "I could have grabbed your feet." He goes, and I heard the panting of the dog. He goes, "I wasn't going to screw with it." The psychological factor of the dog is really a cool tool, man. it's, looking for dope, and just doing the patrol work. It's psychological.
And what kind are they? Are they always a particular breed, or is it
I had what
is
was
there a
called
variety?
the Dutch Shepherd, but most of them are the Belgian Malinois. That's usually what you're seeing more and more now, the Mals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what's special about them? They
Probably just their work agility. They're very trainable.
I thought police officers used German Shepherds
back in the day. They did.
Oh,
yeah. They're transitioned them out. There's all kinds of theories about why. I think there's some breeding issues. There's a lot behind it, but I think that Mal has shown that that's more of a reliable working animal. The Shepherds were too. Lab just depends what you're looking for. I think Border Patrol uses some labs for, some scent work or some of their search and rescue stuff. It just depends. You just find the drive of the dog and work with it.
I've recommended to several people to get a dog because they ask me, people who live by themselves and they're worried about being home alone, and they go, well, what kind of gun should I get? What kind of martial arts should I learn? And I'm like, look, let's be honest, you're never gonna punch or kick. Like, like some people you just know they don't have it in them to throw down
or even shoot.
And even if you had a gun, you're not gonna shoot somebody. You're more likely to have that weapon taken from you and become a problem for you. I said, just get a dog.
That sound of the bark, again, it's that psychological. Yeah, a loud, deep bark or whatever. It scares
the shit out of people.
Some guys are even scared of little dogs.
Give me 1 second. I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm listening. Go ahead. Just 1 second.
No worries. Left alone. All right, we're good. We're back. Yeah, get a dog, man. Like, what is that question? What was the question posed? Like, what's the best martial art for self-defense? And the answer was
45 auto.
Buy a gun.
Yeah.
Buy a gun, So
that's what I tell people. 45 auto.
Yeah.
But there are people who I tell them get a dog because you're not going to have your dog everywhere with you like you would carry a gun. Yeah. But at least for home defense, I think that's a great option because I just know these people will not shoot somebody.
Yeah. I know some people.
Their life can be in danger. I don't think they'll pull the trigger. Maybe they will at that point, but people like that probably should not own firearms.
Yeah.
Except for sporting reasons. You want to go to the shooting range, that's fine. But
planking.
If you're going to try to defend yourself with it, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think some people train, they go to jiu-jitsu, they go to kickboxing, they go to MMA classes, and you can tell that you can bitch slap this guy and take his money and he won't do anything. Even though he's like a purple belt and he's choked people out.
Yeah.
They just don't have it in them.
There's people like that. Yeah. We have cops like that. You have soldiers like that.
Right.
They're out there,
That's a real problem when you're a cop or a soldier. If you have that kind of attitude of you're just like
is it the fight or flight syndrome?
Yeah, maybe you're just too concerned about what could happen to you, so that you'd rather not engage no matter what, or you'd rather like sit quietly in your closet and maybe this guy who broke into your house will take something and leave instead of just going out and trying to smash the fucker. Yeah, some people have it, some people don't.
Yeah, it's.
You know what, man? Lately, I've been eating liver, and I think it's making me more aggressive.
Tell me why. How?
I have no idea.
Liver
raising my vitamin A. I don't know.
Hey, I get it.
Total bro science. But no, I ate liver. Well, I don't know. I think there's something about eating organs that probably triggers a thing in your brain.
Like I get
that tells
that might
you
make sense. Some sense there.
You're a savage because why else would you be eating organs? Or liver, hearts, kidneys,
Yeah.
And I've been listening to Dan Pena. Do you know who that is? I can only listen to Dan Pena for 2 days at a time before I'm like, all right, dude, you're going to make me get in a fight with somebody. He's this old man. He's like 78 years old, but he's got a lot of pep in his step.
Okay.
And he's just a savage. He's just like, he's giving speeches. He always calls people pussies and cunts and snowflakes.
He should.
He's a savage. Bro.
What's his
savage?
What's his background in?
Business.
He's not a CIA op Delta guy, special forces.
He's made billions of dollars in the oil industry. Okay. He's worked with governments around the world, and he's just a savage, man. He's just
maybe Google.
He's given a talk one time. He's like, this motherfucker right here, a stiff drink and a good fuck would kill him.
Yeah.
He's great. He's just, but I listened to him for 2 days and then I need a break because I'm like, this guy's gonna make me fight somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's too alpha. He
Wow.
shot a bear with a pistol and then jumped on a grizzly, jumped on its back and stabbed it to death. He said he stabbed it like 100 times.
You better.
Fucking, like he said, he's like, oh, I went hunting with a rifle and then that was too easy. And then I started hunting with a pistol and that was too easy. Then I started hunting with a knife. He ran down a buffalo and stabbed it to death.
Okay.
Like he's just crazy.
And hats off to you,
He's just
Dan.
crazy. Yeah. You're not going to mess with that guy.
No.
Even at 78 years old, you're not going to mess with that guy. He actually, there's a clip I saw of him where this young kid, I think he was giving a talk at a school or something. And this young kid was like, oh, a lot of people, you think you're not for real. You know, I think you're a fraud. You wouldn't actually hit somebody. He walks up and smacks him.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't want him to be a police officer, probably.
No, you don't want that. No, with the way things are going. Maybe in the 70s, you could do the 80s. That was, I grew up on that. That's why I wanted to be a cop, man.
Really?
Like I grew up on, I was born in 71. I remember like early in the 70s, I was watching Adam 12, and then I would watch like Hill Street Blues. And then, do you even know these shows?
No.
See, these were cop shows, man. And
20 years before I was born.
Yeah.
Dude.
So, and then, maybe somebody watching this will go, yeah, I remember that. And then Miami Vice came around, man.
I've heard of Miami Vice.
Miami Vice was the shit. And then something changed everything. It was cops. Reality TV cops, late 80s.
Oh.
Bad boys. Like, fuck. Man, and then I was like, man, I loved it,
RoboCop.
Yeah, all that shit,
Will Smith.
Cops
Bad
were the
boys, yeah.
That cops were cool, man. For me, I was scared of mom and dad. They laid down the law. I didn't have a problem with the cops, man. Those are the coolest dudes out here,
Well, and how many little boys back in the day would dress as a cop for Halloween?
Oh, yeah.
You don't see much of that anymore.
You see some hot women doing it.
You see them dressing as strippers in cop outfits.
I like it. That's a good combo, man. That's a good combo.
You gonna let them handcuff you?
I would.
Probably. Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
So,
I watched the movie Basic Instinct. I'll never let a woman cuff me.
Oh God.
Have you seen that with Sharon Stone?
Years ago.
Gosh, she's so hot back.
She ice picked the dude, right?
Yeah, she would tie the guy's wrists to the headboard of the bed, and then she'd stab him with an ice pick.
There was a guy who copycatted that,
and she chased after a cop in the movie. Like she went after this cop, and eventually he became her lover.
Yeah.
There's a serial killer who did that.
There was a guy who did that. It was a thing on Netflix.
Like he would tie women and
no, he tied dudes up.
Oh.
And he was so inspired by the movie Basic Instinct that he copycatted that the way he killed his lovers.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he chopped them up. Got caught, and it's a documentary on Netflix called "Don't Fuck with the Cats."
Oh geez.
Yeah, you got to check it out. This dude, he's somewhere in Canada. He pulls this off, and people like he would torture cats online or animals or something. He would just, and people were catching on to this, and they found him. And then he was caught in, I think, Germany or Norway or Amsterdam or somewhere. And in some little like internet cafe, the dude recognized him from Interpol. Some like want was popped out. He goes, that's that dude. And called the German police, and they came and got him. But the people they interview in the documentary are the ones that put everything together to find him. It's a pretty cool story.
I got into watching serial killer documentaries for a while.
Yeah.
And boy, you get into that world.
Have you seen that one? Crazy, Not Insane, I think it's called.
No.
Oh, dude, you got to see it.
You just sit there thinking, what the fuck is going on in this person's brain? Killed someone, ripped their head off, had sex with them, left them in the woods, came back a few days later, ate their heart, fucked them again.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? Like, that's so disgusting.
Yeah. And then went to work.
Some of those, like
they
nothing.
went like nothing.
Some of those guys say that it's that smell of death that turns them on. It would make most people throw up.
Yeah.
They said that's the smell. I think Jeffrey Dahmer was, he said that smell, or was it Bundy? I don't know.
I think all those guys had something that triggered them, they got that high. They got that fulfillment.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
You ever arrest a serial killer?
No. I don't think I arrested a serial killer. No.
They're almost always male too. And there's almost always a sexual component to their crimes.
Yeah.
It's like the only way they can get off is by suffocating someone or
Bizarre.
ripping their guts out or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nasty shit.
Yes, it is.
I get into, I love psychiatry.
Mhm.
I love researching all that stuff. I'm trying to bring some psychiatrists in here actually, because there are conditions I want to talk about in detail.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been doing some research on multiple personality disorder.
Oh yeah.
AKA dissociative identity disorder. And one of the things that really fascinates me, this makes me question everything that we know about science. Like when we establish something as scientific fact, this kind of throws the rules out of the window. So people with dissociative identity disorder, they have multiple personalities. It could be just, they could have their original plus one. They could have 6, 7, 8 personalities.
Yeah, I've dealt with people like that.
It's fucking crazy.
It's trippy, man.
Well, the crazy thing is not that they split and think that they're someone else. Is that
shit? I've dated a few girls like that, man. Like, fuck.
I think that's called bipolar.
Whatever.
I think that's called. I think that's called.
I know. I think it's called. I think it's like
Latina syndrome.
I think it's like I'm sick of your shit, Jared. So I'm gonna fly around on my broom. All right, I can be real sweet, but you're pissing me off, dude. But that multiple personality thing, like mental.
Well, give me 1 sec.
Go ahead.
The point I was getting to is this is what I think throws a lot of rules of science out of the window, because there's been reports, there's been studies done, control studies, where the population with MPD will display changes in their what's it called, their vision. Like one personality will need glasses, the other one won't. Their vitals will change, their blood pressure. Some studies even report a change in eye color, but I've talked to an ophthalmologist about this, and he said that that's impossible. But the thing in blood pressure, memory, consciousness, experiences, all that, the vitals and the vision, that one is what makes me think like, okay, you go to a doctor, they measure your blood pressure. They go, oh, you're hypertensive. So they give you something to bring your blood pressure down. But then you can come back the next day, instead of Jared, you're, fucking Eric or whoever your other personality is. And you go in and you've got 20/20 vision. You don't need your glasses and you have normal blood pressure. And the doctor's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where does that leave us in terms of science?
Man, I don't even know how to touch that.
Is there anything other than a perfectly administered placebo? Makes me wonder.
Yeah. I remember dealing with a guy who I was watching him go in and out of personality. And we were in a hospital and he was sitting there and he was handcuffed to the bed. And anytime a female nurse would walk up to this guy, he would get like very bashful, like a shy little boy. And he would go into this voice, just this bashful little kid, shy, and then he'd turn to me. And he just changed his whole face, his whole demeanor just changed. He looks at me and he's like, "You think you could take me?" Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I thought, if this guy got froggy and jumped, I thought he's going to be in that mindset. And like you're saying, what level of power is this guy going to have? And I'm going to have a fucking problem. And we got to talking and he says something like, well, what did you do? How long have you been a cop? Whatever. I was pretty new at the time. This was a long time ago. And I'm like, I ended up telling him, I said, look, man, I said, I was a black ops sniper. I just came up with some bullshit and I had him. I hooked him. I hooked him. And he was like, you were? I'm like, yeah, man. It's a different, world out here being a cop from what I used to do, but I can trust you, right? Yeah, man. And he wasn't little boy anymore. He wasn't this whatever mindset he was in. He went to something else and I had him. And through the years, he lives here on the West Side. Guy has a compelling story, man. And his mind was just jacked. I became a cop 98, 99. I graduated high school in 90. He graduated from Coronado in 90. I graduated from Canutillo. And he got caught up in an armed robbery in 1990. And he spent 8 years in prison. So at the time I became a cop, he was just out of prison. And that's when I met him. And prison did something to him. And he was telling me the story, how he was just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time with these people. Who knows if he even had whatever happened, but he did 8 years for it. And it really screwed up his head. And I think something happened in prison to him when, just coming out of high school. And next thing you know, instead of going off to college or military, you're in prison, man. You're in state. Yeah. And it did something to him. But over the years, when he had run-ins with the police, he would ask for me, and I would tell him, "Hey, we have a bond," and it kept him grounded. And he was just always whacked on meth. He had meth mouth, the teeth, and poor guy, man.
Jeez.
Yeah. But I saw that. It was my first introduction, like experience to people coming in and out of those personalities, just going like, whatever mindset they're in, they got you. It's a scary thing.
That had to be very spooky.
Oh yeah, dude, man. People like mental health, mental awareness, all that's such a big thing right now. They have a unit on the department, that's what they focus on, and you see the guy on the street who's talking to himself, you might go like, what's that all about? Or just somebody who's just depressed, and at what level. You have bipolar, you have paranoid schizophrenia, you have all this. And man, I'll tell you what, this is going to sound crazy if anybody wants to think I'm nuts. I've had one call where it's kind of funny to say this, where I just went, if there's such a thing as demonic possession, this might be it. And, because you deal with unstable people all the time, but this one call I had, it was just like, you're not thinking that when you're on the call. You're not thinking, oh, that's just the devil. I've seen The Exorcist. I can just, power of Christ compels you. Let's move on.
What do you mean by call? Like,
I got called to I was working with this young officer, and we got called up to this house up here on the mountain over by, it's up here on top of High Ridge at Franklin Hills area, way up here. Beautiful, beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the call comes in on the computer, and it says, this guy wants his wife taken to the psychiatric center. He's just the officers to give her a ride. And I was kind of like, man, that's your wife. That's your problem, man. You take her. But I felt like a dick when I got there because it was anything but. We get there, we knock on the door, and this elderly man opens, and he says, hey, my wife's been in the psych center for months. They've let her go, and she needs to go back. And I'm afraid to put hands on her because I don't want to fight her. I don't want her to fight back, and I don't want to be accused of hurting my wife. We've been through enough. I'm a jerk, man. She starts telling me a little bit about her, right? He says, well, she's upstairs. He goes, she's been out, I don't know, a few weeks, but she's not eating. She hasn't showered. She's not taking care of herself. She's not on her meds. And she's just been pacing up and down, back and forth, just pacing. And he goes, be careful where you step when you go up there because there's blood along the floor. All right, because she'd been dragging her feet and it just like gnawed her feet down. And it was causing them to bleed out.
Jesus.
Yeah. So right then, their son comes out of the kitchen or something. He's like, hey, what's up, you guys? We're like, hey, what's up, man? And I notice he has those T-shirts, those wife beaters, is that what they're called? The tank top, real tight. And I notice he has fresh ink on. He just got tatted up because he's got ointment. I just catch this. And so we're all talking. And, the dude says, well, go upstairs. Just be careful. She's up there. This is kind of already eerie because he's like, be careful. All right, man.
Wait, were you by yourself?
I had an officer with me. I had a young female with me. And as we walk up the steps, beautiful home. I can't reiterate how lovely this home was. As we come up off the steps, there's these double doors. And man, it's like right out of the movies. There she is. She's straight back. And she's just kind of taking that torque stance where she just tweaked, and her hair is just stringy and matted down, just all matted out. And her skin is just pasty, and she's doing this breathing like, I'm going, fuck. I'm going, man. And she pops up, right? She just starts walking towards us. I'm going like, oh shit. And that's like, I'm going like, what do you do? I'm like, hey, come here. Give me your hands. Let's talk this out. Like, no, that's not going to work, man. And she walks right towards me, and she beelines it right back to where she was started. And she's just going back and forth, dragging her feet. And she's like hyperventilating and her body's jerking. I'm going like, what the fuck? No, I'm well-versed in crazy bitch because I've dated a few of them. But this was on another level, man. This was on another level. And I get the officer I'm with starts talking to her, and they're like facing each other. And this lady, she just looks at me. She just turns and looks at me, right? And she shallows her breathing, and she's looking at me, and I'm going like, what the fuck is she doing, man? I felt like red flag one, like something in her was watching me. I know that sounds nuts. That sounds like when we're looking at each other now. It's not like that. Like something was. I'm going like, this is fucking weird. So right then, their son comes upstairs. And he sees I'm engaged in this. He goes, "Hey, man." I'm like, "What's up, dude?" He goes, "I'm a Christian rapper." I'm going like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I drop beats for the Lord." Like, okay, I mean, and I'm
Jeez,
telling
what
my
a house.
yeah, I'm going, let's get her. We got to get her. Let's get her out of here. And then right then, this old man comes up and he has something in his hand. And I'll get to that in a second. He has something in his hand. And the kid does something. Red flag number 2. The kid takes a key out and he unlocks his bedroom door and a deadbolt. I'm going, who does that?
Right.
I mean, you don't even have keys on this, probably on your doors, you know, to the bedrooms here.
Regular.
Who has keys?
The little inside lock on the doorknobs.
And this is also custom where it's a deadbolt.
Oh.
Like, who does that? But I'm thinking that I'm not thinking. It's just like things are like, and he says, "Hey, check this out." And he has this little machine. It says you can drop, you know, I'm like, "Oh, okay, dude." He has his Bible and he sees that I have tattoos. He goes, "Do you have to cover those up?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Check this out." And he shows that tattoo now. And it's this angelic Christian, whatever this thing is, like a protector, a heavenly protector type thing, some religious thing. And he sees I'm watching this and I'm telling the officer, let's go. Let's get her going. It's the whole time she's engaged in me. And the kid says something, and I'll never forget this. Now, again, you know, I say demonic or this, if it's something else, it's not like Hollywood, man. They're not crawling on the walls and heads spinning around and these voices and all that cool shit. You know, no, this is real. And this kid says, "Sir," I'm like, "What's up, man?" He goes, "This is nothing." I'm like, "What do you mean this is nothing?" He goes, "You should hear it at night." I go, "What?" He goes, "You should hear it at night." I go, "This is your mother. You refer to her as it?" He goes, "That's not my mom, bro." He goes, "I don't know what that is." He goes, "And that's why I lock my door." I went, "Fuck this, man." So we get her, right? We're like, until the officer, "We got to take her." Well, then the old man's standing there with that thing in his hand. You know how nowadays we have our phones and I can show you pictures or just send you pictures. Like, this is my daughter's, my family, whatever.
Right.
Jiu-Jitsu, whatever we're doing. He has a Rolodex, like 3x5 pictures that maybe your parents had, you know, like a little album.
Right.
And they had just moved here from maybe Idaho or Iowa. Again, lovely home. And he's flipping through it and he gets through this picture of this woman in the kitchen in that house. And that was her. And she's stunning. And I'm like, "Is this her?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "We don't know. They don't know." I said, "Is she an addict? Is she on drugs? History of any of that?"
But wait, they don't know who she is?
That's his wife. They don't know what happened to her, according to her husband.
Oh, so when the kid said that's not his mom.
Yeah. Well, he's saying what he's seeing, like what she's doing
in her current state.
Yes. He goes, "That's not my mom."
Okay.
That's not like what he's saying is that's not the woman I know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's mom. But
so he deadbolts his door at night because of her.
Yes.
The demons come out.
Whatever it is, man.
Fuck.
Yeah. And we ended up, you know, there's no dramatic, heroic ending. We ended up getting her to the psychiatric center. We gave her a ride. The breathing continued. Her demeanor continued. And we turned her over to the psych center. Her husband was there, walked her in, and that was the end of it. Don't know whatever happened. But it makes you wonder, like, what's going on? Like for her own son to go, lock it up, you know, and he's turning his, it all made sense. It was like one of those Kaiser Sosa moments from The Usual Suspects where everything comes together, man. Like, it all made sense. You know, he's just protecting himself. He's turning his life over to God, his talent for God, you know, Bibles and tattoos of God, you know, this. I'm just going, wow, man, this must really be affecting this guy, man. So, oh yeah. I mean, is it just some mental illness? I don't know, you know.
That's a crazy story.
Oh yeah.
Mental illness is the freakiest shit.
Oh yeah.
Like the people who,
I'm very compassionate about that stuff, man. I'm like, you know, my heart bleeds for a lot of that, you know, it really does, man. So, you know, we all, you know, I don't, you know, maybe not everybody, but you know, we do deal with forms of depression or, you know, and at just different levels and where does it start? And, you know, and I remember talking to people downtown, like the last 5 or so years of my career, I worked downtown. I was a bicycle cop in a unit called Metro. And, you know, you deal with the city life, you know, and the characters down there and the people that make it up. And a lot of them are suffering from severe mental illness. And you just try to talk to them and build a rapport. But now I'm off like, how did they get here? What happened? You know?
Well, who are you even talking to when you're having a conversation with somebody with severe schizophrenia?
Right.
Who are you? Don't even know, like you're like, it's like that lady, like with the kid telling you, I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
it's not that person. It's somebody else.
Somebody else.
Who are you even talking to? Sometimes I wonder if there's even a point. I don't know enough about the topic. Is like, can you actually have these people develop relationships with others?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there's a point of no return, or maybe if you catch them early enough, you can do something about it.
Man, Jim, that makes me think of something like, this is a touchy topic, but I've been to suicide calls where people who are dealing with their depression, whatever they're going through, and they've been threatening that they're going to do this over the years. And when they finally do it, I promise you, every family that I've been to, I got dispatched to, where the loved one just did it, whether they shot themselves, which is usually what it is. They're like, well, it's over. Now we can all be at peace. Would you like a cup of coffee?
Wow.
Yes. I hands down. And you're like, they're in that other room right now and their brain's all over the wall or whatever's happened, however they did it, you know, they're like, we don't have to live with this anymore.
Whoa.
We don't have to live with, and it's impactful, man. Like, or they said he was going to, I had one where they said he was going to do it on this particular day and he did it. He fucking did it. Okay. Let's move on now.
What, and in that case, was it somebody's son or husband?
Oh yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah. It's, yeah. And I mean, there's so many of those.
Shit.
Yeah.
You get the most suicide calls around the holidays, right?
It seems like it.
Christmas time. A lot of soldiers, a lot of people with PTSD, depression.
It just depends, man. I've been to, I haven't seen or done it all. Absolutely not. But I can relate to, I've been to the soldier. I've been to the elderly guy who just is tired of living and he's tired of waiting to die. So he does it, and then to the people who are just depressed or that whatever mental illness they're dealing with, they do it. They've tormented everybody around them, and I use that term loosely. It's there's so many variables with that stuff, man.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed the people you think would be most affected by it, impacted by it, are like, well, all right, let's move on now. Like that. Like going, wow, and you think like, I think what would be more tragic is if you heard the story of like, you thought that kid had it all and he just one day did it. Like what was, no, he didn't give anybody a sign.
Right.
I think that would be like, what was going on? Like, why would he do this? It's again, it's a touchy topic, but I've noticed that like for the most part, it was people like, well, all right. Can we get you something to drink while we wait for the medical examiner or however we're going to do this?
Just that cool, huh?
It's that cool.
That's so fucking crazy. Because you still think like no matter what, if that's somebody's kid.
Oh, it is. Somebody's
father,
kid. Yeah.
Husband, whatever it is. And most of the time it's men. Men kill themselves a lot more than women do. I joke about that to the feminists who want equality. I say, you're going to have to start taking your own lives.
Jesus, that's brutal, man. It's funny is that the one soldier I remember that comes to mind was a female. There's a female soldier that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, she put a potato sack over her head. She had her uniform on her back porch and blew her brains out, but she kept it on the sack. I didn't open that sack up, man. I just saw it,
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Were you the one who told me one time you went into, I think it was a former soldier's apartment and he had a flamethrower in there and a bunch of machine guns and crazy shit that he wasn't supposed to have? Or was that another?
No, that was told me about that. Was a major SWAT call out. They had when Montecillo up here on Mesa, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Montecillo.
That little cool area now, that hip trendy spot. It was several years ago, right when that had been, I guess, just built. There was a soldier that lived there who barricaded himself, and it was a SWAT situation standoff. And what's cool was, what was cool was about that, the snipers on the team, they've both retired. Across the street is it Alamo Draft House? Before that was just that mound. And that was their day to just get geared up with his rifles, just like all camoed into the hill, because it went right down in that apartment. It was right there on Mason. It was a corner apartment on the first floor. And they were just zeroed in right there. Like, come on, calm down, man.
Well, what was the point of that? In case he had a bomb or something he was gonna detonate?
I think it's just part of I don't know too much about those SWAT tactics or but they deploy everybody and they set up their snipers. You know, you probably need to bring in a SWAT guy to talk about. But they're, you know,
I'd love to talk to a SWAT.
There's some cool dudes, man.
I have a friend who just joined the sheriff's department, and his goal is to join SWAT.
Yeah, yeah.
I think. See, that's a job that I probably would be good at.
Yeah.
SWAT.
Yeah.
Because I want to swat motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there reasoning with people.
Those dudes are cool, man. I got some friends over there, and
well, it's also I feel like that's a job that I would never be bored with. I'd get so bored. Maybe being a patrol officer, for example. I mean, there's always stuff happening. I've done a ride along with a friend of mine, and by the end of that 10-hour shift, I was so fucking bored I was falling asleep.
Well, that's the way I used to describe policing. We'll get back to that Montecillo thing, but that's the way I describe policing. And it's not new. It's hours and hours of boredom with moments of excitement.
Yeah.
That's the way you describe it.
It's funny, man. That's how a friend of mine, he's been on the podcast a couple times, Ken Del Valle. That's how he describes war.
Yeah.
He said war is a lot of doing nothing with moments of intense action.
Yeah. I met a Navy SEAL back years ago. There were some guys that training at the academy. They had all these spec ops guys. And I was a canine handler at the time. And he was enthralled with my dog. And this guy's a full-on fucking Navy SEAL. And I'm like, bro, you're a SEAL. And he's like, it's not what you think. He goes, anybody can do it. Really?
I couldn't.
Come on, man.
I'll tell you why. They're going to put me in freezing water for 3 days. Fuck you.
I don't
like cold water.
But that was his mindset. He goes, dude, that was so positive. He goes, anybody can do it. I go, that's crazy. He goes, well, you're a canine handler. I'm like, well, no biggie. He goes, see, it's not what you think. But you know, back to that Montecillo. Yeah, there was in fact, I think this guy, he was suicidal. I don't remember too many of the details, but he was an SF guy, I think, or something. He was some special forces guy, but yeah, you could hear the sound of the pop when he offed himself. But they didn't make entry right away from what I remember. I was there, and when the team went in, I mean, I wasn't with those guys, obviously, but they said that he had a flamethrower ready to go. He had some other weapons just all loaded up.
So maybe that's what the snipers were for, so he doesn't set the whole place on fire.
I think they just, you know, you'd have to talk to those guys.
They were probably, my guess is they were operating on limited intel, as you always are.
Yeah.
You never know exactly what's going on in that building until you breach.
Right.
And so you got to cover all your bases. There's other people in that apartment. He might have a 50 cal and shoot through the ceiling, kill all his neighbors.
Exactly.
I mean, a 50 cal, when you're talking about wooden houses, shit, even cement houses, a 50 cal is going to rip through a few walls.
Oh, yeah. Apparently he had some pretty interesting arsenal in there, but
how the hell did he get a flame? Was it
it
the one that Elon Musk made?
I don't know, dude. I saw that. I have no, who knows? I don't know anything. Like, God, that was a while back, man. But yeah, I remember
Elon Musk made like 20,000 flamethrowers just because he thought it'd be fun, I guess. That's how that guy operates.
Oh, wouldn't it be?
Hell yeah.
Right.
You don't have to shoot. Dude, yeah. And he said they sold out in a day, I think, all 20,000.
Sure, man. Sure.
And he told people not to buy them. He's like, this is a stupid idea. You shouldn't buy this product. And then he's like, still people bought them. We sold all 20,000 in 2 days.
That's cool, man.
How are you going to stop men from buying flamethrowers?
Toys like that.
Women probably think it's the stupidest shit. They're like, really? How much did you spend on that flamethrower? You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I could have bought a dress.
You could buy potato
gone
launchers,
to the spa.
Man.
Yeah. Potato launcher would be cool.
Yeah.
That's what women's always think is like, every time I tell a girl I bought a gun, oh, that's like 5 days at the spa. Or I'm like, you spend that much at the spa?
Yeah.
That's dumb to me.
Yeah.
I don't judge.
Uh-huh.
You do you. I do.
That's how I am, you know.
You go get your pedicures. I'll get my guns.
Yeah, you go do you, man. You go do you. Yeah. So
that's what worries me about. I think about this sometimes, like this special forces guy, former special forces, who has had something snap in his brain.
Yeah.
He still has all the skills.
I think
of
it was a divorce.
Taking people out.
Yeah.
But he still has all the military training.
Oh, yeah.
He still probably killed people with his bare hands. That's all still there.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. A lot of times these guys, you see them, they kind of lose grasp on reality, but they're still killing machines.
Yeah.
And there's thousands of these guys living in our communities. And it's just like, I wonder how,
what point they snap.
Well, maybe this is props to the police. I wonder how you don't hear about a lot of these ex-SF guys who have had something snap in their head, just go crazy and start murdering motherfuckers.
Right.
They're like a guy might wake up one day and just think that he's at war and go kill his neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah, I had a call like that.
I wonder how come we don't see stuff like that.
I had a call like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
How'd that
guy.
go down?
Well, it was, in fact, this dude was having episodes at this apartment complex, and he had we got called out to a shots fired call, and it said one of the tenants in the complex shot this dog. There was a dog running loose. So when we get there, this guy's like, there's this huge German Shepherd running around. It's got a tactical vest on. It came at me, and I was walking, and I shot it, and it ran off. And it was like a gated community. So the dog was somewhere in this complex. Well, who owns the dog? And they were pointing at this apartment. And they said, this guy lives in this apartment. He's always acting strange. He's always acting bizarre. He's always low crawling in the bushes. He just has these episodes. So we go up to the apartment, and for some reason, he had all his family pictures out on the front deck. Like when you come up the stairwell to the second floor, he had like all his family pictures just laid out in front of his door. His door was wide open. We were calling out for him, you know, and this dude wakes up, and all he's wearing is a pair of shorts. He's barefoot, no shirt. And he's real like delirious. He's like, what's going on? What's up, man? What's like, you know, we get his name, talking to him. He goes, where's my girlfriend? I'm like, what girlfriend? You know, apparently his girlfriend was there. She'd left. He goes, where's my dog? Like, well, your dog got out, you know, and somebody shot him. And right then, as we're talking to a guy's having a breakdown, all right? He's a military guy, and he's dealing with a lot up here. And this dog comes back to the apartment, comes hobbling in. Gorgeous German Shepherd, man. Beautiful Shepherd. Well, it was his therapy dog, I guess. And the dog got retired to him somehow. It was a working dog in the military, and somehow they retired the dog to him, and it was just his companion. But the dog got out and terrified some people, and this dude put a round in it. The dog was able to live, made himself back home, and dies on the living room floor in the apartment. And the dude's freaking out. I'm like, keep him together. The crazy thing about this story is I look over, and on one of his closet doors in his apartment, there's a fucking jiu-jitsu gi with a purple belt around it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I'm going like, hey, man, you train jiu-jitsu? Yeah. I was like, there's my hook, man. I go, no kidding, huh? So we start talking jiu-jitsu, you know, and that kind of saved it. And he, you know, and he starts telling me, he goes, can I show you something? I was like, sure, man.
Oh, no.
No. It was cool, man.
Can I try a choke on you?
Nothing like that.
Right after having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
My dog
He's like,
dying.
let me show you something. And
fuck that.
he takes me in. There's a 2-bedroom apartment. He takes me in this other bedroom, and he's got like a setup. He's got all these 3 computer screens. He's got this whole thing set up. And I notice while I'm in the apartment talking to this guy, he has pictures of him with Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, David Letterman.
Damn.
He has like, I'm going, who is this dude? Well, he was he was some helicopter pilot for the Army. He got shot down in Iraq or somewhere, and he got taken as a POW for a while. Oh, and that did it, man. Yeah. But we bonded through jiu-jitsu, and we got him, you know, we gave him a ride to a hospital for some mental, you know, help. And he seemed to be okay. And I ran into him a few years later. Speaking of running into people, like we started the show, I ran into him at the airport, you know, and he was really grateful and thankful for all of that, you know. But his dog died, unfortunately, and he said he's doing better. He left El Paso. He went back to his home state. His parents were cops, apparently. They were all retired PD, but you know, that was.
Where did he train at? Did you ask him?
I didn't. It wasn't. He had one of those just typical. What are some of the brands? Coral or yeah. He had some brand gi.
I'm just curious what school he went to.
I didn't know who. I don't know who he was training with.
Yeah.
I didn't. Maybe we talked, but I didn't catch it.
Oh.
But yeah, jiu-jitsu was the hook.
I think it's pretty awesome how you find areas in people's lives where you can relate to.
Absolutely.
And you can become their buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fucking genius.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think that's probably an approach that every police officer should take.
Yeah.
Is like, let me show this guy that we're the same. Because right now they think I'm different. They think I'm here to arrest them. I'm the enemy, whatever. Let me show them that, hey, I do jujitsu just like you. I listen to the same music that you do.
Music, skateboarding, BMX, whatever it is, you know, just all these little, whatever, breakdancing, whatever it was, I could just.
Nobody's going to believe that though. You're white. White
Dude,
guys,
I could get down, man. Dude, don't even, you don't want none of this, man. Don't even go there. I'm like the easiest dude to tap out. But when it comes to breakdancing, man, I will smoke you, man.
When was the last time me and you grappled?
That had to have been years ago.
At least 3 years ago, probably.
Probably more than that.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
You're not easy to tap out. You weren't then. I assume you're even better now. So
I play the drums, man. I oh my God.
Well, I think it's I think some guys don't tap out often enough. I think they put themselves in harm's way a lot for no good reason.
Well, that's ego, man.
Yeah, and they're popping, they're popping ankles, they're popping elbows, they're spraining stuff all the time, and they're always hurt, and they're always like, "Oh, I got this," and "Oh, can you just watch out for my shoulder?" And then they go hard.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Well, you just told me to watch out for your shoulder, and you're going full blast.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Well, fuck your shoulder.
Yeah.
How about I'm going to hurt your shoulder, and then I'm going to hurt your other shoulder because you're being a dick."
That's happened to me in a tournament, man. I popped my bicep.
Oh, really?
I was in Arizona, like within seconds.
How did you pop your bicep?
I mean, it happened like seconds once the match started. Stu and I bump hands, we go at it, and I pull guard, and he just passes, and he like circles all the way around me, and he catches my left arm, and he goes right into an arm bar. And I want to start to like turn out. I want to turn out and like try and get out of it. And it was just a freak thing. I didn't feel the elbow hyperextending. You literally, the ref, me and this guy hear a pop, and he let go. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought maybe
you tore a ligament. I think.
And my bicep was up here.
Oh yeah.
So, and what's funny was he goes, "Dude, why didn't you tap?" And I was like, "Bro, I had you where I wanted you, man. It was a setup, bro." So that was like, and one of the greatest things to me about jiu-jitsu is humility. And humility is the key, man. And it's a great teacher. And it's like, there's much more dignity in all that than victory, and like you can tap out. It's okay. You can accept that loss without losing any self-esteem.
Right.
And I believe that. And that's what I think was so great about jiu-jitsu. And it's helped me. And again, it transitioned into my life, into my relationships, or into the job or whatever. I like that. And I wish I was brilliant enough to come up with this stuff, but in reading about it, I've seen that quote or that meme or whatever you want to call it. It says, tapping is part of the process. If you're not tapping, you're not learning.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's life.
For sure.
And that's why it's jiu-jitsu is just like, I'm, the fundamentals coach and instructor at Gracie Ba. And I love taking the adult beginners and encouraging them. And it's okay. Tapping is like taking medicine. You don't want to, but you got to get better. I tell them it's all right, and I'm big into that and have a better day for this, go out there and like, going to therapy over the years and like, hey man, we want to put you on medication. I'm like, no, let me just go get on the mats. I don't need to be put on anything. Let me just get on the mats, so that's you'll see that jiu-jitsu is my therapy.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's great. The humility thing, the part about it that's most important for me is I went through this on the mat this morning. I went there with this attitude of like, I'm just going to run through everybody.
Right.
But I'm never a jerk. Like,
sure.
Even though I have it in my mind, I'm going to run through these people. I've never hurt.
Did you call it like a focus?
I've never, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I wake up feeling like a savage. I'm like, let's go. Let's go have a good training session. But when you're on the mat against somebody who knows what they're doing, in order to transition to a better position or to eventually tap them out, you cannot go in there with that bulldozer attitude.
No.
It's just not going to work. You have to calm yourself down and you got to say, okay, how am I going to pass his half guard.
Mhm.
Okay, now how am I going to try to trap that arm? How am I going to try? You can't just bulldoze through people. That's what it does for me.
Yeah, it's a
Is
thinking
it
game.
reminds me, like, even though, like you have to set aside the notion of I'm so tough and strong, I'm just going to kill these people, and you have to work strategically towards what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I tell them this way. Again, I'm not brilliant enough to come up with this, but I read this, and I tell the students, once you replace the winning and losing mindset with learning and developing, your game changes completely.
So, okay, I want to say something about that, because this quote gets thrown around a lot, and I think it's a fucking pussy ass quote, and I hate it. This quote of "you never win or lose, you either win or you learn." It's a fucking pussy quote, and it's bullshit. And anybody who tells you that you didn't lose after somebody beat you is a fucking loser too. I think that I agree with what you're saying. There's winning and losing, and there's learning and development, and you need to combine the two. But don't bullshit yourself into thinking, "Oh, I didn't lose, I learned," because then you're never gonna have a problem with losing. And you're never gonna fucking win. So I agree, but I think we ought to combine all that. You ought to tell somebody, "Hey, you lost. That guy just fucked you up.
You lost, but what did you learn?
What did you learn?
Yeah.
How are you gonna prevent that from happening next time?"
Yeah.
That's the right attitude.
That's it.
But this marshmallow attitude of like, "Oh, it's okay, you didn't lose." No, fuck, I lost.
Yeah.
That guy just choked me out. If we were in the streets, I'd be dead right now.
Yeah.
So I lost, and I don't have a problem saying, "Hey, I lost. That guy got me." That's my thing. Okay,
I get it.
the rant over.
That's all right. That's all right. That's what we're here for.
Too many snowflakes.
Do you know
man.
there's a great cop story about a police officer getting into a scrap with one of these garage MMA fighters, these wannabe MMA guys, and they get into a scrap outside of a bar. This dude takes the cop down, wraps him up, doing whatever he's doing, and the cop, genius, taps. He goes, tap, tap, tap. The guy gets up. The cop gets up and drops him with a taser.
That's dirty.
But you know what? It's the mindset of the way you're trained. Because there's that saying, like, there's no tapping out in a street fight.
I guess there is.
I guess there is. But the officer said, like, this guy was talking, he's just some MMA. I saw it, so I just said, tap. So he's working me over. So I just dropped him with a taser. It's like, oh God, that's classic, man.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. Because that's the guy's mentality. That's the way he trained. You tap out.
Yeah. So that's actually something that I think about too, is I have used jiu-jitsu in street fights before several times. And I know when to let somebody go. I know when I'm like, okay, this guy's going to die if I don't. He's stupid. He doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He can't even comprehend right now that he's being choked to death. And so I just got to let him go. He's not going to be able to fight back because I've already choked him enough. Right. And I've put the fear of death in him.
Yeah.
And I did that when I was a bouncer a couple of times, and it got the job done. They walked away. They didn't want, they realized, like, shit, I could have died. But I wonder if I was on the receiving end of that, if I got in a fight with somebody who knows with their stuff, and they got me in a heel hook, and I tapped, and they're like, "This ain't. We're not
in the mats.
We're not in the gym.
No, we don't have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip your knee apart.
Yeah,
that'd be nasty. That's what keeps me from getting in fights.
Yeah,
because you never know who can fuck you up.
I'm almost 50, man. I don't do the bar thing at all.
No, I don't either. I never did. I mean, aside from when I worked as a bouncer, because I needed that job for those 12 months. But it was never my thing, man. It was never my that was never my scene.
I think
drunk people,
let me tell you, man,
people, guys that are mad because their girl just went and danced with some other guy, or they couldn't. Some girl just turned them down, or whatever. Like there's always I saw
drama,
it as a bouncer all the time. It's not,
being a cop, we get dispatched.
Not much good comes out of the nightlife.
No, it doesn't. No. There's no, like, talking to people, or maybe in the dating scene, like, what do you want to? Look, I don't do bars. I don't do nightclubs because of that.
How do you meet women? Where do you get your dates from?
Do you really want to go there, man? First of all, let's talk about that, man. That's a great topic, man. People are like, so you're single? I mean, sure, man. Telling chicks now, like, well, I'm a retired cop. I'm almost 50. That holds no water, man. That's like, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear the cop. Like, anyway, so let me tell you what I did, man. Sense of humor a must. I went through this phase a while back where I tried these dating apps. Oh my God.
Which ones did you try?
Pretty much all of them.
Okay.
And just fucking disastrous. Just disaster, you know. And but you know, and that put me on this interesting like theory about dating apps and the way people meet today. Because like, you know, I could be at the grocery store, at the gas station, and you could just see this stunning woman, lovely woman. But I'm like, I don't want to go up and go, hey, what's up? You know, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Well, don't do it like that.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Though? I wouldn't do that, but I don't. But that's just like, no matter how I do it, I feel like, is that how I'm going to come off? But you know, maybe she's married. You know, you don't want that. Maybe her boyfriend is in the other aisle. You don't want that. Maybe she just doesn't want to be bothered.
Right.
So people put themselves out on these apps to meet, but or even social media. Like I don't have social media. I've been on again, off again, and I'm off of it. I don't want it. But I went through this phase because I have these friends of mine, like they're just the coolest couple, and they're just like perfect for each other. And I asked them one day, how did you guys meet? You know, you guys just seem like stellar. And they're kind of giggle and they get shy and like, well, we met on Match.com. And I never thought about that. I went, that's kind of cool, man. I never thought about that. So what do? Create an account. And disaster. So I tried Tinder.
Was that with the mustache or without?
Oh, this was it was after mustache. Mustache was the shit, man. But and maybe I should grow it back. But like I tried a few of them for this phase a few years ago, and just disastrous, you know. Nothing's ever what it seems. Everything, like you're looking at their picture and you're looking at them, or vice versa. You know, you're like, first of all, let's stop with the filters, you know. Let's stop with the dog ears and the Bambi nose, and get over this shit, man. You know, and but I went through my whole thing with like, you know, I tried Match, and I tried a little bit just to see what's out there. And you meet some cool people and talk with them, but everything died on the vine because there's so much available out there. You know, how many times, you know, I know dudes that do this, they're talking to some chick getting down, they're like, bing, 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 their phone's going off. It's happening. You know, dating is strange right now, I think, with social media. I wouldn't
call that dating. I'd call that hooking up.
Yeah, that's what's going on. And, you know, anybody listening, watching this, when it comes to Tinder, when they say in their profile, not here for hookup, swipe the fuck right. They're going to hook up. Swipe right, man. But, you know, I have fun, you know, and, you know, but I got over that pretty quick. But you asked, how do I meet chicks? Like, right now, I'm just kind of on this lull, you know. I'm like going to put it in God's hands. I want it the old fashioned way. I do. But, you know, I was that guy for a while where I would go to a get together and somebody's wife wants to introduce me to her friend or her sister. Yeah. And that was always like that. You know, it was kind of cool.
There's always a grandmother who wants to introduce me to her granddaughter. Always.
There's always someone out there who wants to be introduced to her sister who's just like recently divorced with 4 to 6 kids and just got a membership at Planet Fitness. You know, she wants to make up for lost time.
Ooh.
Yeah. So no.
So she eats her way into single motherhood.
That's it, man. She's been eating for a few years. You know, but yeah, it's cool, man. But dating apps, man, they're funny.
They're not for me.
No,
I get it. I knew a guy who, I mean, my goodness, man. I
knew a guy.
The amount of success he had on Tinder was insane.
Dude, Tinder's crazy, man.
Insane.
Yeah, Tinder's the shit, man. I mean, but it gets old. Tinder's true. Like, I mean, I had some crazy fucking stories with Tinder.
I have none.
Dude, that's good.
Maybe I haven't tried hard enough. I got it for like one day and I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, well, that's what I would do. Like, I can't be on. I was on there more maybe than a week and a half. Like, this is fucking dumb, man. You know, swipe right. You know,
I just feel like it's. I'll walk up and talk to anybody, but I feel like to start a conversation on Tinder after you just matched with somebody, what do you say? I actually asked my friend that one time. He goes, he would text everybody the same thing. Do you want to come over for cuddles and kisses?
That's badass, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, he had 1 to 2 girls a day come over.
Yeah. Cuddles and kisses.
It's ridiculous.
I love that, man. Because my thing,
I love how direct it is.
Let me tell you,
I believe in being direct.
Let me tell you what I put. I put single and been on the market so long, I'm about to go on clearance. I said that shit, and they love that shit, man. Dad bod for sure. They like dad bods.
Really?
Oh fuck yeah, man. And then they like the humor, man. It was just humorous. And I would even put like, and when we text, I know the difference, how to use the difference between your and your.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That drives me crazy.
And
I'll drop
chicks,
people.
Chicks dug that shit, man. And you know, that was humorous, you know, but cuddles and kisses.
That's one thing I correct people on all the time with texting. If
Yeah.
they use the wrong your
Yeah.
or should of instead of should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like,
There
I'm
and
like, you
there.
only speak one
Yeah.
language.
Right.
You've lived in America your whole life.
Right.
What the fuck? That's one of the reasons I get pissed off about paying all these property taxes that go to the school district. Motherfuckers don't even know the difference
Yeah.
between your and your.
Yeah. But they'll text their slang.
I've told a couple of friends, call me.
Yeah.
Don't fucking text me because you're gonna piss me off. Call me.
I have a friend, and I correct her grammar so much, and she's a dear friend of mine.
Tell her, call me.
I'm like, girl,
send me voice
she's
messages.
like, would you cut this shit out? I'm like, can you just fucking text? You know, you're a detective on the department. Are you writing your reports like this?
God.
Yeah, you know. So
Jesus.
she's a sweetheart if she's watching, girl. You know who you are. So come over for cuddles and kisses. So
yeah. I don't think she's watching unless you sent her the link.
no,
I don't think she knows who I am. Maybe she follows the show. I don't know. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's that dating app thing, man. I think Match.com though is supposed to be more serious.
No, okay. Well, I think the serious one I saw, like they were serious, was eHarmony.
Oh.
And I even put on my thing, apparently every 14 minutes, somebody finds love. I've been on 4 days, motherfuckers. What's going on? You know, you let me know you're too busy for me. They ghost you. Everyone ghosts everybody. Everybody's ghosting. Like, you know, then I tried that Bumble where it says, you know, women make the first move. So you get a message like, hey.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, like, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? Like, hey, what's the haps? What's the haps?
What's the haps?
Like, what's up, girl?
I've never heard what's the haps. What generation is that?
Come on,
from?
man. The 80s, brother. Where you been?
You weren't even texting in the 80s. Who said what's the haps? You didn't even have text back then.
Dude, don't make me look
What's the
stupid.
haps?
What's the haps,
Would
man?
you like slip somebody a note?
That's it.
What's the haps?
You know what? Slip them a note. Check yes or check no. No, you just talk to them like, what's going on?
See, that's genius though. The Bumble thing where the girls got to make the first move.
Yes.
Because a lot of guys are too limp dick to make the first move.
Oh, they do.
Need,
and you know, like I've talked to women on these apps, talked to them a little bit. They're like, there's a lot of douchebags out there, but with a lot of D-bags, there's also whatever you call the equivalent to the woman. You know, I don't know what you call a female douchebag, but it goes hand in hand.
Still a douchebag.
Yeah, a douche is a douche,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like they ghost you. Like they'll reach out and you engage the conversation and nothing. And then you're like, hey, you know, you there? You're gonna, and then they'll just like delete you.
Oh,
and I often makes me wonder is like
maybe they did some research. It's El Paso.
Well,
man.
they
went, probably like their friend. They probably showed their friend. Oh, I just matched with this guy, and they're like, oh, that guy's a dick.
That might be me. So, but like I often wondered this though: how many people are on? And I have to speak from the guy perspective. Like, you know, how many chicks on there just for a popularity contest?
Oh, a lot.
They don't want to talk to you. They just like the attention. Their phone's blowing up.
Affirmation.
Yes, it's that dopamine release. Like,
well, they just want to know that guys find them desirable.
Yeah, and they don't have to talk to you.
You know, you see that a lot too in the bar scene. I've seen women who were in relationships just looking for attention. They're not going to go home with anybody. No. They're not going to make out with anybody, but they just want guys to hit on them because they need that affirmation. It's like their husband hasn't told them that they're hot in 5 years.
Yeah.
And they need to know that they still got it. They're having self-doubt.
Yeah. I believe that. I think it goes both ways. Like they would rather get 500 likes. A person would rather get 500, 600, 700 likes by strangers than go, hey, you just have a conversation.
Right.
Just talk about what's up, man.
For sure.
See what's happening. Like, what?
For sure.
You know, I don't need to see another fucking selfie of anybody, man, especially like a girl doing squats in the gym. Like, let's get over this, man. I don't need to see, you know, well, yoga pants are good, but let's just back up, man. But I don't need to see this. I don't need to see your workout. You know, I don't need to see these chicks. I don't need to see it, man. So.
Dude, what's crazy is they keep finding new ways to make yoga pants more revealing. God, as if they weren't already. Like you're basically just naked in a different color when you're wearing yoga pants. And now they've got these ones. Have you seen them where they got this thing on the ass where they're like that? They got they spread the ass cheeks apart You know what I'm talking about? And some of them
getting a
have
visual.
some of them have the little like half circle under the ass cheeks. They're coming out with all kinds of ways to make them even more, to define their legs and their butts.
Maybe I will get back
more
on social media. Maybe just to check.
That's just what I see at the gym.
Wow.
You just like, I just noticed that yoga pants sort of evolved in the last year.
That's okay.
And they went, yeah, it's totally fine. They went from, just yoga pants
I started yoga. I got into yoga back in January.
Wait, hold on. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask you before we transition from dating apps. Did you try Christian Singles?
No. I'll probably find some freaks on that too, man. I haven't tried
probably
because I forgot. I didn't even think about Christian Singles.
Anytime I see a dating app that's grounded in religion, I go, these are the craziest. These, like, if there was Christian Singles, Mormon singles, whatever.
In my lifetime, and it's not a lot, but I've dated 2 Catholic girls, Catholic school girls that were raised at Catholic school girls. They were fucking freaks, man. Oh, fucking freaks. Ooh. Oh, awesome shit. But you play the wholesome shit. I'm like, all right, whatever. But yeah, anyway.
What were you gonna say before I took you back?
Shit. You were talking about yoga pants.
You joined yoga.
I got into yoga.
Yeah. Why'd you do yoga? Why'd you get into yoga?
It's helped my jiu-jitsu game.
Of course.
I was reading about it. I was checking out some stuff online, and and this is nothing new. It's been years, and I thought, I'm going to start taking doing these yoga classes. Like, I am not flexible, man, but it has helped my game in jiu-jitsu.
Well, see, a lot of people say that they're not flexible, but they've never worked on flexibility.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I always tell people, like, what do you mean you're not flexible? Did you try? Did you go to flexibility classes for 6 months or a year? Like, when was the last time you stretched?
Yeah. Oh, God.
I've never stretched. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, yeah, of course you're not flexible. It's like saying, oh, I don't know how to choke people. And you never been to jiu-jitsu.
So just taking the classes has just been
hot yoga or
just regular yoga. Yeah. Just regular yoga.
Hot yoga's cool, man. I went to hot yoga for a bit, and then one time I was there and we're doing this stretch, like, where you had to reach, and I just look over, because you're kind of like reaching and turning, and I looked over, and the girl next to me had armpit hair out to here, and I just never went back to yoga. I haven't been.
I was hoping for some other kind of story, man.
Nope, I haven't been back to yoga since I quit. I might get one of those home yoga videos. I might do like yoga on YouTube. Yeah. I can't go through that experience again. I think I hate armpit hair, man. Men, women, I don't care. When you see a guy wearing a tank top and the hair's just sticking out. Yeah, it's just like sticking out, and there's some deodorant in it. Oh, it's fucking disgusting.
That's not good.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I think armpit hair we should lose that gene. Like, if we could reconfigure DNA, we should just get rid of it.
Right. No armpit hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, yoga's good. Flexibility for me, I've always been flexible. I'm probably actually currently the least flexible that I've ever been in my life, because I started stretching really young, just on my own, because I was watching a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Oh yeah.
And so, and that's why I was able to do the splits at one point. And then I just got lazy, man. I didn't stretch for I think for like a year. I didn't do any stretching except from just like a little bit of jiu-jitsu. Which is not stretching. Like, it helps keep you, kind of loose, but you need to actually stretch. And I dated a flexibility coach when I was 21-ish, and she taught me a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. And that was probably around the time that I hit my splits, actually. That was it's been a while. But I have been making it a point, like, for the last month, to do a little bit more stretching. I'm still not doing enough, but I'm doing more, and I'm getting it back pretty quickly. And there are positions in jiu-jitsu where I get annoyed with myself sometimes, because I'm kind of like in a weird position where, like here's an example. I used to be able to armbar people while they have me in half guard. Like, if I'm on top, they've got my leg in half guard, I could still end up in a split almost, with one shin over their face and the other leg still in their half guard, and I could armbar them that way. I can't do that anymore. There are positions where, like, this morning I was grappling with somebody, and in my head I'm like, motherfucker, if I still had my flexibility, you'd be in a gogo plata right now. Because I'm thinking it like I'm gonna throw my leg over and put him in a gogoplata, but really, I would have probably just ended up kicking him in the head.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go for it. I was like, I don't think my leg can make it over.
Right.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
It helps so much. People don't expect it, especially from a guy my size, about 200 pounds. They don't expect my legs to do the things they do.
Years ago, I was probably a higher white or a blue belt. And I found this thing on this little documentary on YouTube. It was the Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood or the Brotherhood of Jiu-Jitsu. And this guy's talking about the importance of yoga and jiu-jitsu. And he said, in my journey through jiu-jitsu, they said, kettlebell workouts were the way to go. And he talked about, CrossFit and all this. He goes, yoga was the key. Yoga was like that hidden thing for his jiu-jitsu. And I was, reading some stuff on Hicks and Gracie, and it makes sense, and this guy even said, you could have told me at one point in my journey here that I had to eat 3 shit sandwiches a day to improve my jiu-jitsu. I would have done that. And he goes, but it was yoga that did it for me. And it helped my game, my breathing, everything.
Yeah.
And once I started this past January, it's only been 4 months. I've, talked to some of the guys that do it with me, and they're like, how's it helping your game out? They go, man, I'm just relaxed. I'm a little more fluid. I'm a little smooth. I am stretched out. Like during some of these.
Where are you going?
To Gracie Baja. They have a yoga program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have a yoga class there.
Okay.
So I'm in that, and it helps, man. It helps. I'm all about it. So, but it's only been a few months.
Yeah, well, it's great for sure. I think dude, we got to roll.
Let me know.
Yeah, we got to hit up one of these open mats and,
let me know.
And get down. Yeah,
that'll work. I'm all gi though, man. I'm not a no gi guy.
We'll do gi. That's fine.
I'm all gi, man. Like I tell people. I think
you got to do both.
Yeah, you do. But people are like, you train no gi. I'm like, man, I can't even figure out the gi sometimes, man.
I think with gi you can get away with sloppy control, and I think with no gi you can get away with sloppy defense because you can slip out of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And with gi you may not have the best control, but you can just grab onto, like, it's like you can hold knee on belly a lot easier if you're grabbing onto somebody's gi than if you don't have that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it gives you a lot more options because you don't really have to lock up the choke here or here. Yeah. You don't have to have a solid grip. Well, sometimes you could just grab your sleeve. Yeah. And so it gives you a lot more angles that you can finish a submission from because you could grab your sleeve. You don't have to have a proper grip.
Right.
And so there's a lot more thinking, I think, in the gi than there is in no gi. But
when I
like both. I just don't like to do gi with total beginners because it's a tug of war, and that irritates the shit out of me.
Usually when I have a brand new white belt that opens up to one, and like our Saturday class is awesome. It's all those classes great, but Saturdays is this like all levels class. And it's a big class and everybody's in there, and you start going at it. And like yesterday there was some new kid. I'm like, I don't know you, so we got partnered up, and like I just let him start. I coach him like, here, that you just think about where you're at. I'm talking to him, finish this choke here because I don't need some scrappy ass white belt, and me getting hurt. I've already had 2 surgeries,
especially a white belt heavyweight.
Yeah. And
that's the worst training partner.
Pump the brakes, man. Yeah. But we've all been there.
Well,
too.
I shouldn't say worst. I should say most dangerous.
Yeah. I remember, I think that's when we first met, was like, it was 2012. I was big into CrossFit. And so when I left K9 and I was going through my divorce, I found CrossFit. CrossFit was my thing, man. I was like, I started cutting the weight, and it saw the changes. I was pushing myself through these workouts, and I did CrossFit for about 3 years, from 2009 to 12. And I was training over at Get Lifted. And in 2012, I thought, I was like, what's this jiu-jitsu stuff? And I had done a couple like these CrossFit comps, these throwdowns, and they were brutal, man. They were brutal. I thought, well, where could I compete? With a guy my size, my age, and my skill level. I thought, what's jiu-jitsu? Man, I'm not getting punched and kicked in the face. It's rolling around. Okay. So I went to Hayashi's, and they had no-gi grappling, and took a few classes, and I was just getting smoked, man. Smoked. And there was a kid who came in there, and he was from Brazil. He was an engineer at White Sands. He says, hey, man, this is not for the beginner. He goes, I'm a purple belt in gi. He goes, you need to train gi and then come back and try some of this no-gi stuff.
Or a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, man. But I was still working out there. Took some judo. And then that's when Gracie Baja opened. And I went right over there. Cause I just wanted to train jiu-jitsu, you know, gi, and then see what happened. And I did a couple tournaments each level of my belt. Haven't competed as a brown yet, but hopefully some things will happen this next year or so, you know, at, you know, my age and division. So we'll see what's up. But that's when I started getting introduced to all the different, you know, gi and no gi. And I just, you know, fell in love with the gi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's cool. And I like it sometimes strictly from a cleanliness perspective.
Mhm.
There's more layers between you and the person you're grappling with. There's less sweat getting on you. There's like if somebody's got a sweaty rash guard and they get mount and they put their chest in your face, it's I don't like that. But no, yeah, we'll talk. We'll find an open mat that we can go, because I know there's a place that you won't go and there's a place that I won't go. And we won't go there. We won't get into that.
No harm, no foul, man.
But we'll talk. We'll talk after the show. There's I think there's a couple of gyms that we can go to their open mats.
For sure. Overall, the community's good, man. It's a good vibe.
I think there's a few cunts out here that I don't like, and I would bitch slap if I saw them. Yeah. They're phonies. You know, they walk around pretending like they're something that they're not, and really deep down inside they're a couple of pussies. Right. So but we won't get into that.
Sure. No worries.
We already did. But well, I did anyway. Why don't you have social media?
You know, man, my social media history. So in 2009, I discovered Facebook, and I was on Facebook for a few years, and I got off Facebook in 2012, and I never looked back. I just felt like, and you talk to a lot of people and they may catch this, like, it was just starting to me, it was already starting to be annoying. Like, and so I got off of it. I thought, but unbeknownst what was going to blossom from, you know, I got on Instagram for a while. It's been on again, off again. Instagram is really cool, but I found myself like always on Instagram. Like, you know, I had my page, like my people I followed or followed me, and you can, you know, you're scrolling and watching what they're doing, but then you flip your screen and there's that, I call it the popular page, which shows all your links to your friends' interests and your interests. And, and I'm like, I found myself.
I never go there.
Yeah. Just smart.
I just,
yes.
Not intentionally. I just don't even think about it. I want to see what's in my feed. I don't care about the other stuff.
I find myself over there and I'm like going like, you know, if I didn't have my phone with me or whatever, I'm going like, man, why am I bummed out? Like I just subconsciously, I was like, why am I? I'm like, man, I guess my life sucks. I don't have a yacht. I don't skydive over Dubai and hug lions. I mean, I must suck. I don't have washboard abs, a hot girlfriend. I'm like, no, man, you're a cool dude. Don't. I'm feeding into what people portray themselves. I never take anything for face value, and I learned that. And then I got on again earlier this year, and I just got off. I'm just like, it's not my thing, man. I tried Snapchat, and Snapchat was fucking cool. I did that a few years ago, but I would do some shit on duty with Snapchat. Like I posted a lot of cop shit on Snapchat, but I wouldn't put it like on my, is it call it your wall, your story? What do they call it on Snap?
I think it's story.
Story.
I really don't use Snap.
Yeah. But I would forward stuff to close people. And they ate it up. Like I interview crackheads, but I'd interview them from the neck down. Like, tell me your story. Prostitutes, you know. Ooh. Oh yeah. I mean, no, man. No. You know, people think prostitute, you think the Hollywood. No. Dude, I had a tranny hit on me, man. It's the best shit ever, bro. Dude, I was at a gas station. Talk about meeting. We'll get back to this. So this was just like a month ago. Dude, I'm at the gas station, right? Talk about old fashioned, you know. So I'm sitting there gassing up, man. And this Lexus pulls up. I can tell it's a chick. And I'm like, okay, whatever. She gets out. I'm like, God damn, man. She's fine. She's smoking, dude. And she looks at me. She goes, how you doing? I'm going, are you fucking talking to me? And I said, I'm good. She's like, she likes my Jeep. I'm like, thanks, man. She's going to go off-roading sometime. I'm like, who the fuck has a camera on me, man? Like, who's playing this game? But the more she's talking, I'm gauging her like, something's something's going on.
Something's off.
Something's off, but she's hot, man. She's hot. And I'm watching, and she tells me her name. Her name's Natalie. I'm like, I'm Jared. I said, can I ask you something? And right when she says this, I knew it. She goes, sure, baby. Well, come the fuck on, man.
Yeah, it's over.
I knew it, man.
Yeah.
I'm like,
dead giveaway.
I said, are you trans? She goes, yeah, I am. I went, okay. And she says, best line ever. She goes, she goes, would you say you're open to new experiences? I went, fuck. No. However, I'm like, you look fucking good. She goes, thank you. I go, are you successful? She goes, oh yeah. My hat's off to you, girl. That's not my gig. I'm flattered. I am touched. I'm flattered, but you do your thing. She goes, okay, you don't know what you're missing. No, I do know what I'm missing. I just, but I was so flattered by that, man. Like I can't even have like a hot chick, this one has to have an Adam's apple, it's just, but it was cool, man. She was cool, but funny times. So like, fuck, man. So anyway,
I had a tranny hit on me one time when I was in Lubbock. I think she was a tranny prostitute
Yeah.
for sure. No, for sure. Yeah.
Sure.
I go to this restaurant, and as I'm walking to my table, there's this girl sitting there by herself, no food in front of her. She's just sitting there, and she looks a little bit, you could like catches your eye. You're like,
exactly.
Like, what's going on with this girl? She wasn't hot at all, but
mine was
kind of like, I looked at her like what? Like this person looks a little bit different. I go sit at my table, and she goes and sits at the table right next to me. Mm-hmm. And she's just looking at me the whole time, looking at her phone, looking at me, looking at her phone, looking at me. And I was like, I felt like I had to wave at one point. I was like, oh, hi, what's up? So then she comes over, and I don't remember what the fuck she said. Like, oh, what are you doing here? Or you come here a lot or something. And when she came over, I could see the hair on the chin, the stubble. Right?
Dude, that's fucking gross.
I could see the stubble. Like it's been like 2 days.
Like yours?
No. Like she shaved like 2 days ago. Like yours. Like yours.
Mine,
yeah. Just a little bit like that. And I'm like, okay, this is really strange. I don't know if I even still want to eat hair anymore.
It's up there with armpit hair,
and
man.
And then, when you finish your lunch, can you give me a ride home? My car's not working. I was like, no, I can't do that. But good luck with your car.
Yeah. I have the best sense of humor about everything, man. I was flattered. It was cool. I'm not going to get my manhood. I was just like, that's kind of cool, man.
No, guys hit on me all the time. Not even trannies, just guys. I put that. I did an open mic comedy a couple of weeks ago. I put that in my bit. Guys hit on me all the time. I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah.
And it's I'm never offended. Some guy comes, hey, oh my God, you're so hot. Can I buy you a drink? I'm like, hey man, thanks, but no thanks. It's as long as they don't touch me. That's when I get. Right. I was gonna knock a motherfucker out one time because he comes up to me and he just puts his hand on my shoulder and runs it down my arm, and I was like, motherfucker, like my friends don't even touch me like that. I don't know you. Like, what the fuck you think you're doing?
My friends do that to me and then end up choking me out. So.
I mean, it's different, like it's just like, I don't know you. What do you, like, you don't touch somebody like that you don't know.
Yeah. You don't know. You don't do that.
But whatever, man. Guy wants to give me a compliment. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm with you, man.
Yeah. It's all good.
I remember one time it happened on the job. Like we were down in the, what you call it?
Oh, I love a man in uniform.
Yeah, man. It was down. They call it the 500 block of Stanton, this Pride Square. And we had a call out there, whatever it was, and we were at a bar and we're dealing with this call and we're quelling it. And some dude comes out of the bar, just creating problems for us, man. Just being a little ass, interfering, and he gets arrested. So I take him over to my unit, and as I'm putting him in the cop car in the back seat, we're kind of in an alley, and this group of women are walking by on the other side of the car, and just slow motion, man. I'm getting this guy and I'm putting him in the car in the back seat, and I look up, and she's walking by. It's just slow motion, man. Our eyes meet, and I'm just going like, oh my God. And she's just like slow motion, like in the movie. She looks over at me and she winks. I'm going, my God, she's a man. I was like, nah. She just winked and went on. I never talked to her. But I was like, convincing, beautiful, but no, thank you.
Yeah, I had a tranny one time use that line with me too. Of like, oh well, just try it. If you like it, you do it again. If you don't like it, don't do it. And I'm like no, like some things you don't have to try to know that. You know what they say. The saying, "There's a first time for everything." I always say, "There's a first time for most things."
Yeah,
some things there's no first time.
Again, my hat's off to you.
I've talked about this a million times on the show. I've never eaten hummus. I don't need to try it. I don't like it. Right. There's certain foods that I'm good. That's another one of those things. I'm good. I don't need to try. So you got off of social media because
it was just, I found myself on it all the time.
Were you constantly comparing yourself to like these billionaires posting pictures of their tigers and whatever?
No, I wasn't comparing myself. I was just like, I don't need to like, but this is just me. And you're asking me, this is me. I don't need to display my life. I don't need to like, I'm just, I don't need.
What about just to see what your friends are up to?
Or I'll just call them. Call me. Call me, man.
Or to check out some hot girls on Instagram, or to see what the hell the Rock is doing.
I don't give two shits what he's doing, man. But
I love the Rock.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just wasn't.
See, I like to show off. That's why I use social media. Well, I mean, I use it as a marketing tool for the podcast.
Sure.
But
to each their own.
I like to show off, especially when I reach a new level of success.
Yeah.
However you want to define success.
No.
I like to flaunt it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And to each their own.
Oh, sure.
Make it work. It works for some people. I just not my thing. Right. I got off it.
The whole thing about comparison and how a lot of people feel like shit from social media, because like you had those thoughts for a bit, like, whoa, I'm not living in a mansion. I'm not on a traveling with models all the time,
well, that's all fake too.
In some cases, I mean, Dan Bilzerian is absolutely living that life.
Is it? Are you sure? Because I hear there's things about him that he's being kind of.
Dan Bilzerian?
Yeah.
Well, his company Ignite has the last time I checked did not report quarterly earnings,
something like that.
And so he's in some shit with his company, because you have to report earnings when you're a public company. Your investors need to know what the fuck you're up to,
right? And
so he's in some trouble for that. I haven't followed the whole story. I mean, his dad was a gun runner.
Yeah.
That's how his dad made billions of dollars. So I don't know his whole story, but I know the guy's wealthy as fuck, and he's balling out of control. He's been balling out of control. He had 2 heart attacks when he was like 25.
Yeah.
Because he was partying for 3 days straight, strippers, cocaine, Viagra for 3 days. He had 2 heart attacks. Right. So some people are living that life. Look, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is living that life.
Well, he can. I mean, I can't live that life
for sure.
But I saw.
But the point that I was going to make is a lot of people are looking at their social media, and that's the point of comparison that they have for themselves. It's like, oh shit, like I don't have. This guy just bought $1 million watch. Well, I won't make $1 million if I live to be 3,000 years old. Like some people are having those thoughts, but it actually comes from a natural and very logical place. Where it comes from is pre-social media. Take it back hundreds of years. Let's say you're a farmer, and your neighbor's also a farmer, and you wake up every morning and you look at his land and you go, damn, this guy's producing a lot more crops than I am. It actually served you well to pay attention to what that guy was doing.
I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
The problem is nowadays, I'm not looking at my neighbors. I'm not looking at people from my same neighborhood with similar backgrounds to compare how I'm moving through life. I'm looking at all-stars. I'm looking at celebrities. I'm looking at ultra wealthy people, billionaires, ballers. And it's giving people that wrong point of comparison. Maybe wrong is not the right word. Maybe there's something to that where you just say, fuck, like if I want a mansion like Dan Bilzerian has, if I want to throw parties like that guy throws parties, I just have to work that. I have to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
So it could still do some good. For me, it does a lot of good. For me, like I say, how are you ever going to get wealthy if you don't hang out with wealthy people? If you don't follow in the footsteps of wealthy people, if you don't see their moves? Like when I worked at the gun store, we had customers that would write 6-figure checks for firearms, for toys. They'd walk in and drop $250,000, just write a check for machine guns and body armor. And like one guy built a bigger house to expand his gun room.
Yeah.
He hired a company that came down and built one of those hidden safes. It costed like 150 grand.
Wow.
And he built a bigger house to expand his gun room. I mean, and I could look at that person. I could be, oh shit, you know, wow, I suck because I can't do that. You know what I mean? Or I could be like,
I don't,
but I always look at it as motherfucker, if you did it, I'm going to do it too.
I see where you're going, but like, I didn't compare myself really to anybody.
I'm not saying you did.
Yeah.
I'm saying it happens a lot with social media.
But I see people, I saw this lady did a talk on social media, and behind her, there's this picture of this beautiful lion, gorgeous lion, just sitting there majestic. And she goes, this is you on social media. She goes, this is who you portray yourself, like a lot of you on social media. And she hits the clicker, and there's this mangy cat in an alley. She goes, that's who y'all really are. And that's what I'm talking about. Like,
there's a lot of fakery for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the majority of it. You know,
you have to recognize when somebody just went and pulled every cent out of their checking account, you know, all fucking $6,000 of it in fives and put them in a big stack. And took a picture with somebody else's car.
There's no reason for that.
Yeah. You know, one thing that's really common, in the Middle East, all my friends do this. It's annoying as fuck. I talk shit to them all the time. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
They see a Mercedes parked on the street. They go take a picture with it. Or if they take a picture for like a profile picture, it may even be their car.
Yeah.
But they make sure that they stand just to the right of that symbol on the front hood of the car to let you know that it's a Jaguar or something exotic. And I'm like, is your ego that small?
Exactly.
Are you that insecure?
Exactly. That's why I don't do it. I mean,
there's a way of doing it where it's cool to, like, some people flaunt their money and you're like, that guy's fucking cool. And then there's a way of like, oh, look, I drive a nice car. I feel like it's just how you do it.
Yeah. I posted, like, when I was on Instagram, I posted mostly some jiu-jitsu stuff, a lot of my dog, and just me doing stuff, you know, longboarding or riding my bike at the park or whatever, you know, but I'm like, you know, I don't have that great of a life either.
A lot of people don't, man.
You know, and I just didn't want to, you know, everyone loved the dog. Everyone loved watching Tyson doing his thing, and he has such a personality, but you know, man, I just got off of it. It just wasn't, I don't want to consume my day with it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm trying to get some eye drops and this thing's not working. I have really bad dry eye. And El Paso is one of the worst places in the country for that.
Right.
It's top 3. I think Lubbock is top 2. El Paso's it's in the top 3. I don't know the order, but I use eye drops all day long. You just have to use preservative-free eye drops, is what I've been told, and you could use them all day long. If they're not preservative-free, it's recommended to only use them 3 to 4 times a day. So I keep these little vials all over the place, man. Like, they're everywhere. I just, if I'm walking through my house, any room I go into, I just put some eye drops in. So you're a brown belt now.
Yeah.
And what's next?
My first stripe. Just trying to get that stripe. Just, you know.
So it's recent?
Yeah, I just got my brown belt in January. So I've only been a brown belt 4 months. Just what's next? Just keep grinding it, man. Just keep training and teaching. And I would like to compete again later this year. We'll see what's going to happen with that. And, you know, eventually get that black belt and see what happens. You know, I heard a great theory. Back when I was a blue belt, I was at a training camp out in California. And it was for Worlds. I didn't compete at Worlds, but they had this week-long camp out there at Gracie Baugh headquarters in Irvine. And there were black belts from all over the world there training. And they were getting ready to go compete. And they let blue belts and above attend this thing. And I was a blue belt, and it's week-long. And it was 2 hours every night. It was from like 7 to 9, 6 to 8, whatever it was. And I was standing there, and I'm just getting wrecked, man. Like, I'm like, these dudes had the neck and the ears, and just, you're just like, don't even make eye contact with these guys. But talk about guys with the biggest hearts, man. And then I made a comment. I go, you know, we were doing like a top bottom out thing. There were all these guys on the ground, and you had to find your dude. And if you passed his guard wherever he swept you, you know, you went to the back of the line, which I usually do, or you know, I'm not going to pass this black belt's guard or whatever. I'm not going to get him. Just trucking you left and right. But I got to train with some pretty iconic dudes, and I rotate back to the back of the line, and I make this comment, and I go, man, I wish I had my white belt back. And Professor Tusa from Albuquerque goes, just wait till you get your black belt. I thought, wow. He goes, that's where it all begins. It makes a lot of sense if you think about that. Yeah, I mean, wow. He goes, that's the beginning. That's pretty deep, man. That's pretty deep, you know, for me, you know, because you're always striving for that next belt. You're always striving for that stripe, that promotion. You're working. Once you get your black belt, now you're a black belt. And that's when it all starts to come together. That's kind of cool, man. I like how he put that for me, but
I'm still a white belt.
What would they say? What would they say? Black belt is a white belt that never gave up.
I'm still a white belt. I don't believe in belts. I'm never gonna.
I saw you had painted toes one time though, right? You did I know guys.
Yeah,
that
I paint my toenails.
Yeah. I saw that once. Yeah.
I don't know, man. The whole belt thing just doesn't work for me.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, this morning at open mat, there's a lot of rules governing behavior of giving permission for higher belts to do certain things, and lower belts just kind of got to sit there like dummies, and you know, until they're called upon. And so we're at open mat, and I don't know who this guy is. You know, cool guy, name's Connor. I met him earlier, and he comes over and he's like, "Oh, hey man, you know, you want to roll? Like, I know I'm not supposed to ask a higher belt, but I got tired of waiting." I was like, "Man, who the fuck told you that? Go
exactly.
Slap whoever told you that."
Oh man.
But there's schools that are like that. Like, you won't ask a higher belt to roll with them. Only they can call upon you.
Dude,
there's all that respect of like, oh, I'm a higher belt, so you need to bow down to me. It's like,
no,
fuck you.
None of that. Absolutely not.
I hate that crap.
I love
and I told him, I was like, actually, man, I'm a white belt too. And he's like, oh, well, I saw you grapple, and you know, I figured you're a lot more. And I was like, no, I haven't been belted. And I asked people, that's actually the first time anybody's ever put it that way, of like, when you get your black belt, it begins. Because I asked people, oh my, you know, I think this year I'm going to get my black belt. I go, okay, and then what? I don't know. I'll be a black belt. Okay, but then what? Oh, well, I'll be a black belt. Well, what does that mean? Who gives a damn? And there's this attitude of, oh, I can't tap that guy out. He's a black belt. Fuck that guy. I'm going to tap him out. I'm going to try even harder because he's a black belt. You know, why are you putting limitations on yourself? And just because somebody's dressed in different colors?
I'm with you. That's an odd mindset. Like, I love training with everybody. I don't care what their belt is. I don't, you know, I have a good time either way. You know, I learned something from it. You know, that's interesting, man. Wow. I lost my train of thought. I was going to go somewhere, man. I just totally spaced on it. I was listening to what you were saying about the belts and training and all that, but I went blank right now.
Well, it happens to me a lot. It's infuriating.
So maybe it'll come back.
But yeah, it's infuriating.
Oh man, you talked about, should I ask a higher belt to roll? You absolutely should. Absolutely should. You know,
I guess it depends on the school though. Well, it depends on the rules, because every school's got their own rules governing that sort of behavior.
I don't know. However,
some schools, white belts just have to sit there like a bunch of idiots.
There's no reason for that, man.
They all they can
learn
do,
a lot from
all they can do
belt.
is bow.
Yeah.
All they can do is just bow. And yeah, I had a problem with somebody here in town where he wouldn't roll with me because he's a black belt, and I tapped him out, and he just won't roll with me. I mean, he just, and as the students are like, oh, well, you know, this guy's a white belt tapping out a black belt. Well, who gives a shit? First of all, stop paying attention to my belt color. Focus on my skill level. John Jones went to start training in gi. They gave him a white belt because he's never trained in gi. Like, well, John Jones is still going to murder you. Gi or no gi.
So talk about like breaking like this rule of like asking people to train. I was up in Albuquerque, Gracie Baja, Albuquerque, up there. It had a grand opening of the school, really nice school. So I went up there to check it out. So I'm training. We have all these people on the mat, and in walks Holly Holm.
Oh,
Holly Holm walks in.
the woman of my dreams.
Yeah, she has a white belt on and she's with some dudes, and they start training, and she's like right here on the mat. And I'm trying not to be like,
Dude, I'm driving to Albuquerque right after the podcast,
dude.
and I'm going there.
Okay, well, this was right after her Misha Tate loss. Okay. She'd won the belt from Ronda, and then she fought Tate, and Tate chokes her out. So she's right here on the mat next to me. Okay, I didn't bring my phone in, but I have proof of this on my phone. And I can hear these guys talking to her, and they have Russian accents. Some whoever they are from Jackson's. I don't know who they are. And I did that. I'm training with some chick or some dude, and I said, "Miss Holm, would you like to roll?" And I felt right down like I just broke some like grappler's rule. Like, you don't do that with a pro MMA fighter or whatever. Like, just don't. And these Russian dudes looked over at me, and I thought, oh God, I'm done, man. I'm fucking done. Shouldn't have done that. And she's talking to them, and she was very kind of shy. She seemed like really shy. And I heard one of them say, like, you have to, you need to. I had just got my purple belt. This was 5 years ago. And she goes, okay. And we went out, and I'm like, what do I do? You know, solid as a rock, man. And we're going at it, and you know, we did our 5 minutes, and she was really cool, man. She was really, really cool, and she's just working her ground game.
She tap you out?
No, we didn't stand up either. But I was like, I felt like
stand up. She'd probably take your head off.
I'm sure she will. Absolutely.
Mine too.
But you know, nobody tapped anyone out. We were just kind of going. I thought, do I open it up on her? What if I injure a pro athlete here? You know, you start overthinking. At least I was like, so we were just kind of flowing it, you know, going 40, 50%, nothing crazy. She said, thanks. And I said, hey, you know, you owe me a picture. She laughed. So we went on, you know, finding somebody else to train with throughout the session.
I told her that she owes you a picture.
You owe me a picture. The cool shit is, I was training with someone. She comes over maybe 30, 40 minutes later, taps me on the shoulder and goes, I'll give you that picture now.
Damn.
And we took a picture, man. And I didn't bring my phone in, but
I believe you.
Yeah, I have it, man.
You're not a liar.
No, I'm not. But I got to train with Holly. But everyone asked me that. Did she whoop your ass? No. Only because we didn't stand up. But I'm not standing up. I'm not a stand-up guy.
Well, probably also because you're 100 pounds bigger than her.
She's solid, man. But that's
cool.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now, man? Retired? Are you going to move to New Mexico and get a marijuana license?
I don't know, Possibly. You know, like I said, you know, back on that note of being a retired cop and doing this for over 20 years, I just taking time for me. You know, I'm teaching jiu-jitsu. Like I've said, you know, some guys fish, some guys play golf, some guys go play tennis. I got jiu-jitsu. And how cool is that, man? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I get to teach and share, and I hope I inspire some people a little bit and just have a good time with it. And we'll see what happens. When the time is right, the time is right. I've had a couple opportunities come up and like to say, hey, would you be interested in working here? And it's back in law enforcement. And of course, I think about it because I think the honeymoon phase is over with, you know, retiring. Like I'm starting to get a little bored, starting a little cabin fever at my house, but I stay busy. But I'm not ready to jump back into work right now. I left the profession. I left the job for a reason, not to just jump back into it. I need to do me. Like I've done some traveling, nothing crazy, but, you know, this summer, my daughter and I are planning some things, and I don't want to start work and not fulfill those things I wanted to do, because if I go back to work without fulfilling those, I'm probably going to be a little bitter at myself.
Right.
So I need to do that. And if it takes a year, it takes a year and a half, I can do that.
Yeah.
And my circumstances, I've always said, are different than a lot of these guys, you know, my age or where they're at in their careers in being a police officer. I got to retire from being a cop at 49. But you know what? I'm single. You know, I have low debt. You know, I'm not buying a new toy every 3 years. I'm not on my third marriage. I haven't lost half my pension to some ex-wife somewhere, you know, and I'm not knocking anybody for that, but you hear a lot of those stories. And I think a lot of guys that would like to retire and hang it up, they can't because of these other commitments financially or whatever's going on. You know, you'll see guys, you know, married, and he has kids from her previous, she has kids from her previous. And this is, I'm not knocking anything, but this wasn't my circumstances. And now they have little ones. They have to wait for school and college. My daughter's college is paid for. She's almost done. My child support was over with. I'm not paying that out anymore. I paid off my vehicle. I paid off my bike. I can live off my pension. And the goal is to live simple, live as minimal as possible, and just enjoy it. And not to sound just dramatic, but this new self-discovery, okay, I'm done with the cop thing. Why go back into it, right? And like I said in the beginning of the show, maybe in a year and a half, if I decide to go back to doing something, if I could do anything, I would love to, I don't know how to even network this or do this, like get into the whole thing about what police reform is. And I've Googled some stuff about police advisors and where they're going with this, with everything that's just changed in this world this last year, and talk about what police reform is, and do some consulting and that kind of stuff. But,
I've got the perfect job for you.
Tell me.
Apply to be one of those security guys at the UFC that walks out with the fighters.
I'd be fucking the shit, man.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just walk out with him. I'd probably wear my brown belt.
Yeah, get some respect.
That'd be cool, man. I got to get a job at the UFC. I went to speaking of the UFC. So 2 weeks ago, it's been about 2 weeks. A month and a half, 2 months ago, I bought tickets to that UFC fight in Houston 2 weeks ago. And that's because Nate Diaz was on that card. And then Nate Diaz got injured and they postponed it. So my daughter and I, went to that fight. We got to see a great card, got to see great fights.
He's fighting on June 12th.
Yes. We just got tickets for that one.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to get to, I'm a Nate Diaz fan all the way.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He's something else. And so we're going to go out to Arizona, and it's 2 weeks from yesterday. So we're going to go out there and catch that fight. And
awesome.
It's going to be, and she's like, it's father-daughter UFC stuff, man. She's digging it. So
drop an application while you're there.
I might have to do that, man. Security.
I knew this guy who also was on the force in El Paso for a long time. And he retired, and, same thing. He got bored after a couple of years. And so he dropped an application to the UFC to do just that, because he's a big MMA fan, and it came back overqualified.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he'd done a bunch of stuff. I mean, all these years as an officer, right? He had just a lot like you. He did K9, he did SWAT, he did detective, he did a lot of stuff. And yeah, man, they told him he was overqualified. He's like, what kind of bullshit is this? He's like, I'm not asking for more money. Just pay me what you pay those guys.
I know. I don't want money, man.
Just the regular pay.
Yeah,
like he wasn't looking for anything extra. He just wanted to do it because
I'd like to walk out. Yeah, that'd be cool. I get my ass handed to me, but I'll get it.
I mean, you're not fighting them. You're just walking out with them.
Walk out with them. That's I think some of those, like, they're I think they're some kind of LEO, some kind of peace officer for the state, like Nevada Game Commission. They have those are, I think those
like
are
like the university cop type of thing.
Yeah, but they work for this. I think they're not cops, but there's some kind of LEO.
Hey, can school district cops pull me over for speeding?
Yes, they can.
Not in the school zone.
They can pull you over.
Shit.
Anybody watching? Yes, they are peace officers. They are cops. They can pull you over.
Damn it. But constables can't pull you over in El Paso if you're on your phone, right?
I don't know.
Because that's a city ordinance.
No, they can. If it's a violation, I'm sure they can pull you over. I'm sure they can. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Constables, and I think in El Paso, a little bit different than East Texas. East Texas, that's a big thing out there. Constables are, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I would say they can. If they're peace officers and it's a violation, they can pull you over. So,
but it's a city ordinance.
Yeah. Are they in the city? If they're going down Mesa?
Yeah, well, I mean, the FBI is in the city, but they don't pull you over.
Well, no, FBI doesn't do that.
Right.
No, they're not. They're federal. They don't enforce.
Like, I don't think state troopers will pull you over for being on your phone.
I'm sure they would.
They can't pull me over anyway for being on my phone. You know why?
Why?
Because I use Bluetooth.
Oh, well, then there you have it. There you have it, man.
No, but actually they can't even see in my car. I've got a 5% tint.
Okay. And they pull you over for tint?
I have been pulled over a couple of times for tint, and I have a note from my doctor that got the case dismissed.
Well, it works for you.
Yeah. One time, actually. I only had a citation once for my tint.
I never dug that deep to go, I'm going to have to pull that go over because of his tint. I was never that guy.
I think the tint rule is one of the most bullshit rules out there.
Let me tell you what,
Like, do you know why there are rules on Tint?
I have no idea.
Just
but
fuckery.
I always looked at things like that. Like you just said, it's just fuckery. I'm not going to fuck with people because of that. Like that was me though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's hot in El Paso.
you know,
the sun is
I mean,
glaring.
yeah.
I want some protection from the sun.
Yeah. You know, the cell phone thing, man. I mean, I get it. You know, we all use our cell phones, you know, I mean, you know, I get it. You know, I pull people over time for that.
I get the cell phone thing though, man, because you're putting other people in danger.
Oh,
I'm not putting anyone in danger if my tint is dark.
Let me tell you when the cell phone
I'm just making my ride in my car more comfortable for me. That's all I'm doing.
The cell phone the cell phone shit bugs me is when the person in front of you is texting and you're at a red light and they don't realize the light's been green and they're still texting. You're like, hey, let's go. But they have to look at you for another few seconds in the rear view. Like just put on.
Tesla's going to fix that.
Yeah.
The car is going to communicate with the light. The car is going to sense that the light turned green and it's just going to go for you.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I haven't heard anybody talk about that, but why wouldn't Elon do that?
Yeah, I was going to say Elon's
they'll definitely program the cars. They'll hook them up to the traffic lights.
Right.
I think they will. The texting thing, I get it. I'm all about that. Because like I said, you're putting other people in danger.
I can tell you some classic stories of pulling people over on their phone.
Oh,
man.
Tell me.
Dude, classic shit, man.
All right, tell me.
I was cruising up Mesa one day, just in my unit years ago, man. And there's this dude, and like I remember he's in a Lincoln Escalade, just a pimp fly SUV type thing, and he's on his phone, man. And he's just having some conversation with who knows who, and he's just living it up, right? He's talking, and I'm looking at him like, seriously, man? And he looks over at me, Jim. He looks over at me. This is the best thing, man. He looks over at me. I'm looking for something that would look like a phone just for effect. He's on his phone, right? He's on his phone and he looks over at me. He looks back this way and he looks in his rearview mirror and he starts using it as a razor. That's like,
what?
Yes, come on, man. So I pull him over and I walk up and he's just sitting there like, fuck. Man, I go, hey, it's cool, but you missed a spot, dude. He's like, come on, man. I go, really? You're going to be on your phone? He's like, I said, that was genius. I'm not going to give you a ticket. I just had to say, hey, man. But
they've got those Apple phones in China now that will to take care of your facial hair. That's what it was.
Okay. And then this one, like that was clever. That was crafty. You know, we shook hands. I can't cite the guy for that. It was cool, man. You know, just be honest. Have a sense of humor. But like, I remember this lady, this was, you know, driving by, she has this little minivan thing. And she's on her phone and she goes right by me and I pull her over and I make the stop and I walk up to her and I said, hi, I said, I'm Officer Lamb. I'm, you know, at the PD and whatever my intro was. And I said, I reserved you on your cell phone. She goes, no, I wasn't. I go, ma'am, I just saw you. I saw you. You had your phone. Because I wasn't on my phone. Now, she had her kids with her. And they were probably early teens to elementary school, like 4 kids.
Did they out her?
Huh?
Did they out her?
No. Check this out. No. They were just sitting there watching this. I said, ma'am, I'm not going to have this argument. It's your driver's license. She's kind of getting diva about this. Like, I wasn't on my phone. And you even start to think for like 1 second, well, maybe I'm stupid. You know, they might be like, no, I know what I saw. So I went back to my unit. I was logging down the call. I said, you know what? I'm going to handle this. I'm writing everything down on my log sheet. And I go back to her. I go, ma'am, listen, you know, you're on your phone. I know you're on your phone. I said, however, you just lied to a police officer in front of your children. And if they already haven't, when they start this behavior, they learned it right from you. Okay. You have a nice day. It's a good way to be a parent. Yeah. They learned it from you. And she said, and even like I remember her daughter, probably like 14, looks at her like,
damn.
And she goes, sir, I was on my phone. Yeah. She goes, I didn't need to write you the ticket. You just, the impact, the impression you just left on your kids, when they do this to you, they learned it right here. And she says, I'm sorry, I was on my phone. I go, I know you were. It's too late. I don't need to write you a ticket. Have a great day.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, you're such a psychologist.
Well, you have to, man.
Jesus.
You have to, man. What is it? Dane Cook called it the mental ninja. You know who Dane Cook is, a comedian? Yeah, he's the mental ninja, man. You know, you just, you know, get people thinking, you know, it's not always about them.
When your kids end up dead or in jail, it's your fault, bitch.
Exactly. Yes. When they're lying to you or to whoever, they're pulling some shit. It's on you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's heavy.
Oh yeah.
What about so I was mentioning like the cell phone thing, you know, putting people in danger. I equate that in a lot of ways to people who drive drunk. That's like, I think that's a danger too. And,
Oh yeah.
and I love that police crack down on that.
Oh yeah.
That the punishment is severe. But sometimes I wonder, it's like, are we just fighting a lost battle? I mean, you can't stop. Like you just go, I mean, go to Cincinnati or wherever on a regular night.
Dude,
and the parking lots are packed. All those people are in there drinking. At the end of the night, there's no cars in the parking lots.
They're all up.
Everything's gone.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I think I've thought about this and I've thought like, okay, the great thing about self-driving cars is like, you know, we don't have to worry about drunk drivers anymore. Fuck it, get hammered and your car will take you home. It's all good.
All right.
And maybe you'll pass out in the car and die, you know, because you fucked yourself up. You went too far, but you won't kill anybody else. The car's still going to make it to your garage. You're just going to be found dead in there a few days later.
Oh. I don't know, man.
The city's going to lose a lot of money though. That's a good source of income for the city though.
The DWI thing, that's like,
how much money would the city miss out on if there was no more DWIs? It's gotta be millions. Yeah. Many millions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's not going to happen. They'll
have to try to get you for something else. Like what's going to happen to, like traffic citations, all traffic violations, all traffic related violations, they bring in a fuckload of money to the city. What's going to happen when that goes away?
How will that ever go away?
Self-driving cars.
They'll find something.
Who are you going to give the ticket to? Like Cat Williams has a great joke about that. He's like, fuck this. I'm going to get me a self-driving car. When I get pulled over, I'm going to say, I don't know what to tell you, officer. Talk to the driver.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. You know, I don't know, man. I'm sure they'll come up with something. They'll find something.
If the car is regulated perfectly.
Are they already out?
There are some, but they're not, the program isn't quite there yet. But when we get to that point, let's say in 10, 20, 50 years, who knows, 100 years, where that's all you have. The car never speeds. It never runs a stop sign.
I was going to say, like,
the driver's never going to be, it's not going to matter if the occupant of the vehicle is
GPS
drunk or not.
An address, it'll tell you at the next stop sign, turn right.
Right.
It'll tell you at the next light. And I can imagine, you know, a car knowing this it's going to stop for,
you know what's fucking crazy?
It's not going to go above that speed limit. It's going to know.
Yeah. I drive to and from Lubbock a lot, and you go through a lot of little cities when you're taking that route, and the speed limits sometimes will go from 75 to 50 down to 30 and then back to 60. And then and it's a little crazy. And like going through those towns, I got to really, really pay attention because the speed limit will change like that from 70 to 40. And then you got a cop on your ass. Yeah. What's really interesting is this fascinates me. When I have my GPS working, right, and I've got it on the screen, so I see the map, right, and it gives you the speed limit up in the corner. The second that I pass by the speed limit sign, the speed limit changes.
Oh shit!
The GPS knows where every fucking sign on the road is.
That's wild, man.
Who put all this information in the GPS? Wow. It knows where the sign is.
I never noticed that. But.
It doesn't change when you're 20 yards to the sign. It changes the second you get to it. It's fucking crazy.
It is.
Your GPS recognizes, okay, the speed limit just changed, and it tells you on the screen.
Well, they do that.
So the self-driving car is just gonna make the adjustment on its own, and you're never going to be speeding. There's going to be no.
The cop cars have GPS, what's called AVL on them. They can pinpoint you right where you're at. You know, they can monitor right where you're at.
What do you mean?
They can monitor your speed. They can like the cop cars. These cop cars, they have what's called an AVL on them, and it's satellite tracked where our dispatch center can see exactly where you're at, what you're doing. Oh. And it's an officer safety thing. They know exactly what you're all about. You know, like, you know, if there's a call here and you're like in the closest unit and you're not busy, they're going to send you. They can see where you're at.
Damn.
Yeah. They can
so they can see where you're at as the officer.
Yeah. Your car is at.
What about the citizen?
No, not the citizen. Okay, they're just telling them that
I thought that's
I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4 America Way Lane, and this officer is like, wow, that cop's right there. You know, send him, or, you know,
that's smart.
Yeah, they can It's called AVL. I don't forget what it stands for, but they can monitor you.
Yeah, because cops can go missing. They can go into somebody's house to respond to a call, and or they heard a scream or something. They go in and they're gone.
Yeah,
that's why police will put their handprint on the car, right?
Oh, is that?
You ever do that?
No, I didn't do. My prints would be all over it anyway, but no, they don't. I don't know where that came from. I don't think.
I heard somebody talk about that when a police officer walks up to a,
they put their
well, they touch it. That way their prints are on it in case they go missing. There's proof that the officer touched that car.
I don't know where that. I've seen. They don't train you to do that.
Oh, okay.
No, I think that's.
People are so full of shit.
Yeah, they are.
It's probably like some show like mine. It's just giving up bad information.
Yeah. Because first, seriously, when a cop pulls over a vehicle, that cop should automatically call out.
Right.
Say I'm at whatever. Like
they're calling the license plate.
They're going to call it the license plate. They're going to call it the location. Plus AVL's watching him. They're going to know that this, Honda, this officer's at, and all of a sudden the officer's not responding to his radio. Something's going. Technology is. You don't need to touch anybody. And touch any car. Maybe that was in the 30s or 40s.
Maybe that was back in the day. Yeah.
Maybe that was when they're having donuts at midnight in some little diner, but not now.
How do they? So I've wondered sometimes, like how those police car radars. Sometimes it feels like, okay, how the fuck did he just track my speed? Like he's on top of a hill and at the bottom of a hill.
They don't even use radar anymore.
How does it?
From what I understand, like I said, I ended my career, my tenure, whatever, as a bicycle cop downtown. So being a bike cop, you were away. It was a different approach to policing because you're pretty vulnerable. You're on a bicycle and you don't have a car. You don't have a motorcycle. Motorcycle is pretty dangerous, but from what I understand, and again, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't think they're even using radar anymore. I think they're using laser, and they can pinpoint that shit pretty good. They can pinpoint you good. As far as the day of radar, that just to me seems so dinosaur, man.
So people who use those things that beep when
those radar detectors,
radar detectors, are those out of the game now?
I would guess, but I used to like you said, like I would fuck with people's heads. Like I'd pull them over speeding. And they say my radar detector is working. I would tell them, well, my radar jams your radar. I never did. I would just tell people that. And they would be like, damn.
How dare you lie to the citizens of the United States?
I'm just having fun, man. I get lied to all the time as a cop. People lie all day long.
Yeah, but that's your job.
I'd be like, well, nobody says I can't fuck with you back. Like, my radar jams your radar when you're trying to pick up my radar. I never thought about that. Here's your ticket, bro. See you later.
Next thing you know, they put it up on OfferUp the next day. They get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
That's hilarious.
I haven't even. Do they still make radar detectors? I don't even know anything about that.
I've thought about getting one though.
I have no idea.
But then every time I think about getting one, I'm like, it's cheaper to just not break the law.
I was gonna go there, Jim. I was gonna be like, hey man, just obey the law. Okay,
it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, just obey it.
So you're not going to move to New Mexico and get a marijuana license?
Yeah, there's some rumors. I heard rumors like this last few months. Like when I exited the department, I kept it real quiet. A lot of people they'll put out this email. I went out. I called it the good old fashioned Irish exit. I just quietly left the party out the back door. So my phone was blowing up the last few months. Like, dude, did you retire? You left? I'm like, yeah, man, I bounced out. Somebody contacted me. They said, hey man, you're saying that you moved to Colorado and you're working on the grow operation up there, fucking hippie. No, man, I'm not. It sounds like a bad idea, but no, there was all kinds of shit.
Do you have friends now who are exposing their marijuana habits to you?
Oh yeah,
like they didn't tell you before, because you'd have to arrest them.
No, I would have to arrest them, but
you wouldn't have to arrest them.
I wouldn't do that.
No.
Smoking marijuana is no big deal. It's just when you're in possession of it. So smoke that shit up.
Well, how can you be
just
smoking it if you're not in possession of it?
That's a good debate. But if you have 15 bricks,
like
you're in possession.
If you see somebody smoking it, they're in possession of it.
Yeah.
And they're smoking it.
Yeah. And nowadays you're just going to get like a cite and release for that.
Thank goodness for that.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a bunch of shit.
I agree.
Did you ever feel like a real dick having to arrest somebody?
Yep.
Because they had a joint on them. You're like,
fuck.
Yeah,
you did. You did, and it's just like it was your job. But I'm like, dude, this is fucked up, man.
Especially when you know it's like some young kid who's like
Mhm.
18, 19, and they're probably going to lock him up for 10 years.
Not that much. It'll be dropped to a lesser charge or something. The court was pretty cool about it. But yeah, man, I didn't like doing that, man. I didn't like, you know.
So what's the rule now? You give a citation if it's under a certain amount, right?
Yeah, it's a cite and release from what I understand.
Class C. So no arrest at all.
Mhm.
So, that's
Show
a
up
good
to
thing.
court.
Because those arrests fuck people's lives up, man.
They do.
God damn, you know. Class C misdemeanor, you pay it off.
You know,
or
I'll
get
tell you a
lawyer
story and
involved or
talk about
something.
putting yourself in a situation. I was up near Mesita Elementary School in that part of Mesa. There's a school zone there, and this guy was just hauling ass through the school zone, speeding, passing vehicles, and I pull him over. Okay, he's going, let's say, south on Mesa towards the hospitals, and he's in scrubs, and he's in this little beat up car.
Look at you using South like Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
Fucking
And
I'm like, are you going towards the Jack in the Box or away from it?
he was just.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I walk up to him and I'm talking to him. He's like, hey, man, I had to, you know, I'm late for work. He was a nurse at one of the hospitals. And as he's talking to me, I'm looking at him and I'm like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And in the console, in the car he's in the console is a big bag of marijuana. I mean, it's stacked, man. It's a pouch, man. I'm going like, am I seeing this? You know? And I'm like, hey, man, I just ask you something. I stopped you for this, but what's this all about? And he goes, fuck.
Oh.
He goes, this is my son's car. I go, okay. And he goes, you would not be the morning I'm having. And I'm late and I had to get to work. I'm a nurse at the hospital and this is my fucking son's car. And now it goes back to this. I have a job to do. Is he lying to me? I'm just going to do my job. I had to arrest him.
Would it make a difference if it was his son's?
Well,
car?
you know what? I told him this. I said, look, you're going to be placed under arrest for possession, you know, and this wasn't residual in a pipe. This was a fucking bag, you know, I'm not going to overlook this. And, you know, it's like, I said, but you know what? We need to clear this up in court. That's what the court is for. You have your son come forward. His son is going to get arrested for it because this kid, you're the one in possession of it, you know? And it put me in a really hard place. Like I believe the guy, but there was also part of me going, I'm not just going to turn the cheek. Yeah. You know, I have a job to do.
Right.
You know, what if this guy is lying? And that's where I learned, I hate the words, what if? I hate those two words. What if?
Because there's no end to that.
There's none. It keeps you up at night. I'm just going to do my job. You can hate me. You can call me an asshole, but this is between you and your son, whatever he's up to, putting you in this position. Don't be pissed at me. Take it up with him.
Right.
Does it make sense? And when you just talk to people like that, and I just, you know, he goes, I understand. Yeah. I go, we'll get through this, you know, but I have a
Shut
job.
The fuck up, get a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. And put your kid in the hot seat, man, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I can only imagine being a parent. You're gonna have to face that decision of like, well, it's either gonna be me or my kid, and depending on if the kid's 16, you know, he'll probably be all right. But if he's an adult, he's fucked.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the age of the kid was, but he said I had to use my boy's car and shit. Well,
would that matter though? Is my question, because it's like you could own a car with expired registration and that's not a crime. But if I drive it, I'm the one at fault, even though it's your car.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one driving it. So even though it's somebody else's bag of weed, if I'm the one driving the car while that bag of weed is in there,
you're in possession.
It's my ass that's on the line.
Yeah. And I think that's just something, rather than panic set in, going, fuck, I'm fucked. And it's easier said than done. You just say, hey, you know, I need to get a lawyer. And like, I would say to my kid going like, you know, you knew what we were going through with the car situation. I had to borrow your car. Your shit was in that car and now I'm taking the hit for it. You're going to the lawyers. I don't care if you have to write a statement or affidavit saying that's mine, that's not my dad's, and they dismiss this. However they do it. I mean, that happens in family violence cases. You know, you have a woman whips her husband's ass.
What a bitch.
Yeah, whoop his ass.
Not her.
Well, either way. And now, you know, and they're caught up in the heat of the moment, and then they make up, and now when it goes to court, somebody's citing a non-prosecution statement that they don't want to do anything about it. You know, the cases get dismissed, you know, and it's family violence, and there's zero tolerance on that. And I would imagine that it goes the same for these types of things, you know, and we just go do our jobs, you know, you know, how you sort it out, that's up to the court system. That's not the police, you know, police, somebody hit somebody, you possess, whatever, we're making the arrest, we're doing the paperwork, you sort that shit out. And you're probably just going to repeat the cycle again, you know, until the system does whatever they want to do, you know. But I've heard that, I've seen that. What happened to the couple? Well, he signed a non-prosecution statement, and you know, same with the female, you know, she didn't want to do anything, and you know, they're going to take some classes, some counseling, whatever, you know.
Yeah, counseling is, you get that guy, you make him eat some liver, you send him to martial arts, smack him a few times, make him give him a flashlight, help him locate his nuts, and then maybe his wife will stop beating him.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And I mean, she's a fucking bitch, you know. You should never do that either way. If you're married,
don't hit each other, man. Don't hit each
for
other.
sure. You shouldn't do that on either side. But I mean, I try. You know what? I try to understand.
Go join a jiu-jitsu school, train, and go smoke some weed, man.
I try to understand the position of a guy who's getting beat up by his wife, and I just have a hard time with it.
I've known a few.
I have a hard time with it. I'm like, what is going on in his brain? Okay, like if we're going to look at it as a mental health problem, which it has to be, right? Then we have to sympathize with the guy.
I don't know,
or empathize. Instead of just saying, "What a fucking pussy." Why doesn't he just you know, hold her arms or fucking smack her back, you know? If
smack me and
I don't buy that bullshit of like, you should never hit a woman.
I don't either, man. If
a girl kicks me in the nuts, I'm gonna cunt putt that bitch.
Yes, I'm with you. Let me tell you what, you want to throw hands, motherfucker, because some chicks can hit fucking hard.
Yes,
I've been fucking slapped by a chick. I did fucking cocked, and I was like, what the fuck was that? You know, we're drunk in Mesilla on a Sunday, and pow, like fucking hey, man. You
like
know?
This was a girl you were dating?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Oh dude, narcissists.
Oh, what did you do?
Talk to the hot bartender.
No, why did she slap you?
Just talking to the hot bartender. Because she was flirting with one of the bartenders at this place. Oh. And people were catching on to this, and I was just kind of feeling like an idiot.
They think you were swingers?
No, man. No. She's fucking hot, but just being a flirt. And there's this cute chick behind the bar, and the girl I was with, she was in the bathroom, and I go, "Are you catching this?" She's like, "Yeah, let's have some fun with this." So I played her up. I said, let's just flirt. She goes, "Okay." And so I was doing it, and like when we leave, she's like, "What was that all about?" I said, "Look, I saw you talking to the dude. This chick was eyeing me." I said, "If you could do it like I do, baby, then I'd be worried, but you got no game." Boom! Fucking,
she punched you.
She fucking cocked me good, man. I was like, God damn, just this quiet drive home, man. I'm like, please don't do that again, because I will hang a hard left and you will fly out the door. It was funny, man. But yeah, just us, you know. We were drunk, man.
Speaking of flying out the door, I was texting with one of my friends yesterday who's a surgeon. And what did I ask him to do? I asked him if he's going to go to grappling Friday night. I was like, "Hey man, you going to jits?" And he goes, "No, I just got called to the hospital. Young girl, not, you know, young. I think, how old was she? Not like child, you know, adult. Actually, I might be making that detail up. But anyway, fuck it. The story is, a girl was ejected out of a car while the car was moving, and she's got like 8 fractured bones, or
Jesus.
She's fucking broken in so many places. It's horrible.
You're in town, I take it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Horrible.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, that's people, you know, I don't mean to sound like,
but you didn't hit that girl back, did you? Because you
knew you deserved it. No. I didn't deserve it. I don't care what I said to that skank, man. You know, you don't hit people.
I mean, she shouldn't have hit you. She could have just told you to.
I mean, we had a little buzz going on.
She could have just told you, you know what, you're a piece of shit, I'm leaving.
Fine, but I said, you know, she was doing it. So I said, she was playing the male bartender. I'm like, motherfucker, you're pulling this shit in front of me. So I started with the female.
Oh yeah.
And I said, you can't do it like I do it. And she hit me.
You got to stop hanging out with low quality females.
Oh, they're classy, man. Classy. Narcissistic women. Power trips.
There's a lot of pages on Instagram. I was shocked at how many I found that have to do with narcissism. They always talk about like the narcissist recovery from narcissists and
dating them.
Yeah, dating narcissists and all that. There's a ton of them.
This girl I dated for a while, she was the quintessential narcissist. Like, she was at my place when I got off work, and I had dealt with 3 tragic things in one day. One was again a SWAT call out with this kid shot himself. And I had gotten news that a guy from my academy class had just died of a heart attack. And I'd seen him the day before. He was a detective. And then I found out a very dear family friend had also died.
Damn.
And I was just going like, man, you know, I just gotten home from this day with this kid offed himself, man. And then I got the news on this other stuff. I'm going like, fucking hey, man. I was sitting there. She was on my place. She was on the couch and she was watching TV, and I was doing something. I said, you know, check out this day I had. And she just goes, and I wasn't looking for like, hold me, cuddles and kisses. Just wanted to talk, you know, I just wanted to release this, you know, and someone to listen. And she's just like, whatever. Like straight up said that. And I knew right then, like no empathy, no compassion, you know.
Was she hot?
Fuck yeah. Fucking smoking hot, man. So that checked everything off. That checks it off, man. You okay?
Just fucking with you.
Yeah, I know, man. That's always the question. That's a guy question. Was she hot? Oh, you're good then. You're good, man. She tried to stab you, right? Right. Okay, but she's hot. Well, deal with it, bro.
That's really important to when you're in a relationship, any kind of relationship, romantic or friendships or otherwise. Doesn't matter if you know who the person is, doesn't matter. If you want to strengthen relationships, you have to show people that you understand.
Yes.
That
all relationships,
that they're having a bad day. And sometimes that means shutting the fuck up about your awesome day and just listening to their bad day.
That's it. Just listen.
So when somebody tells you, hey, I've had man, I went through some stuff today. You don't go, oh my God, I just got a promotion. Let me tell you how, it's been amazing. It's like, now's your turn to shut up, even though you're really excited about this awesome thing that just happened to you. Now's your turn to shut up and just listen to what this other person has to say. It's amazing how many people don't understand that. Simple things, man, that just make relationships so much better. And people, I don't know. I don't know how some of these things are such abstract foreign concepts.
It's all about me, I guess, you know.
Right.
You know,
there's a lot of that.
It's all about me. It's all about me, you know. So people matter. They do. People are important, you know, and I learned that through the job, you know, people matter, you know.
I want to ask you this question because El Paso is known as being one of the safest cities in America. And I think that's awesome. But what that leads a lot of people to think is that there's no crime in El Paso, is that they don't need to lock their doors. They don't need to learn self-defense. They don't need to have a guard dog or a firearm or any of this shit. And I think they're delusional. I think they're lying to themselves. Because there's still crime in El Paso. Otherwise, you would not have had a job for 22 years. Why do we need police officers if there's no crime in El Paso, right? There's always the sign on the freeway now hiring. They're always looking for more police. And so I tell people, they go, oh, we live in El Paso. It's a pretty safe place. I don't need a gun. I'm like, have you ever talked to a police officer? They go, no. I'm like, okay, do me a favor. The next time you're in a position where you can have a conversation with one, just ask them about some of the violent calls that they're having to respond to, and the shit that they've seen and the criminals they've arrested. And maybe you'll start to think that, like, you know what, that could have been me.
Right.
That could have been me. And at that point you'll realize that safety is not something to take for granted. It's not something to think like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen. I live in El Paso. I know people who never lock their fucking door.
I do too.
It's insane to me. And nobody in that house, it's a, a family of whatever, 4 or 5 people. Nobody in that house I could run through them in a matter of a couple of minutes with my bare hands, all 5 of them. And they never lock their door. And I'm like, you don't want a guy like me who's fucking crazy to attack you,
Yeah.
like, and you can't defend yourself. I'm
Uh-huh.
not saying I'm crazy. A guy with my physical abilities,
I know what you're saying.
who's
You're
fucking
cool.
crazy.
I know. I totally
I
got
don't want
you.
people to misunderstand.
No,
if
I
they-
totally,
yeah,
I
I'm
totally
not.
got that.
Yeah, that's what I've told people this, and it freaks them out. Middle-aged women, old men, teenagers, whatever. I've looked them dead in the eye when they tell me that, oh, we don't need firearms, or you're crazy because you train because you think that somebody might attack you. Who's going to attack you? That kind of conversation. I've looked them dead in the eye. I said, what would you do if I got my hands on you right now? Are you going to call the police?
Yeah.
Are they going to get here in time?
Exactly.
I've told you know how long it would take me to kill you? Less than 10 seconds.
Yes.
10 fucking seconds. I'll get my hands on you. I'll choke you out. You'll be dead in 10 seconds. You're going to call the police? And they just look at me like, oh, fuck.
I forget the name of the sheriff, some sheriff in a county. I want to say it was in Illinois or Indiana. And he said best, he said, sometimes you can't call the cops. You don't have time. You need to fucking shoot them. Like that was his point. It was like, you have an intruder in your home. Instead of running to your phone or whatever, run and get your gun and have the confidence to use that thing and wax them, and he was straightforward about it. I wish I could remember this guy's name, man. And, but it made sense. Like the cops, they're going to get there in a few minutes. Like, I mean, people would love to say the cops never showed up. The cops did. No. We'll show up. It's going to happen. But
bro, I bet that if I order takeout, it'll get here before the cops get here.
Probably.
Not always.
Not always. Well, not necessarily, because takeout takes 20, 30 minutes at times, but you can get a cop.
Not if it's DoorDash. They're fast.
I don't know. I've never used them, but
it depends. It depends on what you're ordering and how big the order is too. And if there's drinks, they got to be more careful when they're transporting them. But if it's just a burger and some fries, bro, they'll get here quick.
So, but the cops show people. I'm sure somebody can sit across and go, well, this time. Well, I don't know what to tell you, but I always showed up.
Sure.
I mean,
but but here's the thing though. I actually had this conversation recently on the podcast with one of my guests, and I said, you got to understand that a lot of times, and maybe this will remind you of some situations. A lot of times, the police's job does not require. Let me say it differently. That's not a good way to say it. A lot of times, the police are not going to be there to stop the criminal. They're going to be there to catch the criminal after they've committed the crime.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're already dead at that point, or kidnapped, or raped, or robbed, or beaten,
broken into,
whatever.
Yeah.
And then the cops go get the criminal. Well, that's great. Okay, yeah. Now they're going to arrest the person. They're going to be prosecuted, but you still got fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, is that true?
I see what you're saying. It's
to what degree is that true?
Who does it fall on?
Falls
on that person.
Yeah, yourself.
Not the police.
Right. That's why every person should be ready to defend themselves.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to.
Right.
Don't worry about consequences. Don't worry about the what ifs. There's that what if.
I mean, it kind of depends on the situation, though. It depends on witnesses. Nowadays, you have to think about the consequences. If somebody is breaking into your home, fuck them. Just do what you got to do. Somebody's trying to like break into your car, but I think like a guy my size, and a guy my size is going to have a lot less leeway if I fuck somebody up when I go to court, because they're gonna be like, oh, well, you didn't have to do that. You're a big guy. You could have defended yourself differently. You didn't have to shoot him. That kind of thing.
Let me I don't know if this will reverse it. I've seen a couple times. It's not like a lot, but this humongous bodybuilder, power lifter guy. He had some unpaid traffic tickets, and this tiny little female officer arrested him. And he even said it. He said, I would never fuck with the police. He goes, that's just not my nature. But something came up when he was under arrest. We talked to people. I think somebody said, you that arrested? They're playing. He goes, man, this little thing is so justified. And what you just saying on body size, they take all that into account. If I were to give her a hard time and she pulled out that gun and dropped me and killed me, I can't live to tell the story. And look at her, look at me.
Right.
And it made sense. People know that too. Like, I'm a big dude, and
yeah, like if I were to get in a physical altercation with somebody, especially if it was a female,
Mhm.
especially if it was a smaller person. It could have been, an 18-year-old guy who's just kind of small.
Mhm.
But it's like, so you have to think about, it's not just defend yourself at all costs. It's like sometimes I would say always, if you can walk away, walk away.
Mhm.
If you can walk away,
Absolutely.
if you can walk away, just fucking walk away.
You know-
what do but if you have to defend yourself,
Walk away. Yeah.
if
Turn
you-
the other cheek, man.
If you have to defend yourself,
Yeah.
I still would think about witnesses and like who's around, how many cameras are on me, you
Mhm.
know.
So that was all going through my mind with that grocery store incident with that guy walking up to me and my daughter. I'm thinking that, going like, what? How am I? You don't have time to think. You don't need to think like that. You just need to. I could have blown it off,
be that way,
or I should have just smacked him.
It should be that way.
Mhm.
Here's the thing: if people understood that, like the reason a lot of times people are rowdy is because they're counting on your self-restraint because you don't want to get arrested.
Mhm.
And that's why they'll get rowdy with you.
Yeah, people know
If-
he can't
if-
do anything about this. He's trained to deal with it. It's
Not you personally,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
yeah.
The reason some people will get rowdy is because they're banking on the fact that you're not going to hit them because then you're going to get arrested. And I think that if that weren't the case, if beating the shit out of somebody for insulting you was actually a valid defense in
Mhm.
court, you say, well, you know what, this person came up to me and he said this and that, and so I punched him.
Mhm.
A lot of people would think twice about what they're about to say.
I wonder about that. That makes a lot of sense, because if you just do it, and like, hey, I did it, man, and I'll go with whatever happens, and that makes me think about officers that fuck up. You want to talk about police reform, and we talked about a little while ago, get rid of the bad ones. When officers fuck up, get rid of them, because that's going to send a message to the others like,
For sure.
we ain't fucking around. But you know what? You're going to keep the good ones, and they can do that work. They can do it. That's what they're there for. They're proud to be there, And if you just send a message like, you guys are held at a different level, they tell you, and you're put in this level of trust in the public eye. And when you tarnish that, and whatever level you do it at, like, I understand something just happened in the news where an officer got arrested or fired. Something happened at an apartment complex. Did you hear about this?
No, man, I'm so
Yeah.
removed from the news.
So am I. It
It's
was
not
brought
even
up to me
funny.
last night. And again, if there's some El Paso cop, I don't know who he is. He's a courtesy officer in a complex. Went to clear the pool, and some people were there. Some girl was in the pool after hours, and he said, you go down on me, I won't make an issue of this.
Oh shit.
And she went, like, good for her. She went fucking told, apparently. Good for her. Get rid of that motherfucker,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Get rid of that fucking guy.
Sure.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about, reform. And, I talked about hiring. How do you find that kind of deviant kind of shit in people? Because they're going to go there and they're going to take the written test, and they're going to go through their oral board interviews and their background checks. And they're going to play this game like, I just want to hand out teddy bears and blankets, and I just want to make a difference in the community. But underlying issues are this kind of shit. And you're seeing it more and more. They're doing deviant fucking shit.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck out. Send the message that this department doesn't tolerate this shit, which they don't. This is a great department.
Right.
And we're not putting up with this kind of crap.
And prosecute them to the full extent of
Fuck
the law.
yeah. Fuck yeah. Prosecute them.
The qualified immunity is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, that's a bunch of horseshit. Like, what makes a cop's job a lot harder and a lot more dangerous is when people don't trust them.
Mhm.
When people have this fear of like, oh, this cop is lying to me, because cops can lie to get confessions. They do it all the time. They can lie to achieve a desired result. They can make up bullshit to get you to let them into your house, and then they search your house and they find some shit in there. Like, this happens all the time. If that weren't the case, if police officers were not allowed to lie to get confessions or to get you to consent to an unreasonable search, whatever the case, and you got rid of qualified immunity, and when a cop goes and murders somebody and the video goes viral, they get properly prosecuted. Not like, oh yeah, we fired them. Well, what the fuck? They killed somebody.
They'll get prosecuted.
You fired them? Like, they should.
I think they'll probably, they'll probably terminate them at the end. But they, there's a legal game that from what I've seen, it just seems like there's always this legal issue they got to play. There's always he's like, we can't fire him just yet, administrative leave, whatever, until this whole thing pans out. Now we got him. Now let's fire him. But it's already on the back burner.
Right.
It's already there. But they got to. It seems like if I was a guessing man, from what I saw, like they have to play their cards right. They have to play the cards right. Yeah.
I think going to jail for just in general, getting arrested for violent crimes, you got to be kind of dumb. Not as an officer, as any person. You got to be kind of dumb to get arrested for violent crime. Right. You know what I mean? Like if you want to beat the shit out of somebody, do MMA. You can actually get paid to beat the shit out of somebody. Right. If you want to kill somebody, join the military. You can get paid to kill people. You could be a private contractor. Right. You could go rip people's throats out, do whatever the hell your fantasy is as a private contractor. And you can get paid to do it and never go to jail.
Right.
Why would you do it and go to jail like an idiot?
That makes me think about,
that's the best place to send psychopaths. Put them in these, but they have proclivities. They don't want to, they have a specific taste. It's not just like, it's not blind violence. There's a certain setup. There's a certain structure, a certain signature that all their crimes kind of follow the same sort of unfolding pattern.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that probably wouldn't work. But if you're just a crazy motherfucker who wants to kill somebody, dude, I mean, join the military. You can get a medal. Like, why are you going to jail when you can get a medal?
Right. It's the mind, man. It's the mind. Like maybe that's not the way he wants to kill people.
I guess.
Maybe he wants to. I'm find that specific person and poop on them and cut their throat open and stuff poop in their throat and have sex with them, and then it's not just going to the military.
You could probably do that as a contractor, dude. You could do a lot. You could get away with a lot of shit as a contractor. If I ever had the urge to really do some violent shit, I wouldn't do military. I'd do contract work. I don't know if they take me without military experience. I think you have to be
military or police or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah. But the point is, actually, I had a friend of mine try to recruit me one time. He had just gotten back from a tour. I was like 20, I think. He just gotten back either from Afghanistan or Iraq. I don't remember. I know he did tours in both places. He got out of the army. He had like he hurt his back or something, and so he got out of the army. But then they were taking contractors to Iraq, and he's like, "Dude, I need a translator. We're going to be a team of 4 guys." He was giving me the whole breakdown. We'll be there for 9 months. They pay you, I think it was like $110,000. And he's like, get this, we can do whatever the fuck we want. He's like, whatever we seize over there, we could bring back with us. Wow. I mean, it's not like the military. You don't have rules of engagement, but you also don't have the backup of the military, which makes it a lot more dangerous. When you're in the army or whatever, the Navy or anything, you have support from the helicopters, from the Marines, from whatever. When you're a contractor, it's not like that.
I don't know too much about that. I know a couple guys that have done it, but I never heard any.
They make some bank.
Yeah, they make bank.
And they get to do some crazy shit. But I told the guy, I was like, look, man, you've already been a soldier for all these years. You've already been in combat engagements. You've had combat training. I went paintballing yesterday. And I was paintballing and I was thinking, wow, John Wick is so full of shit.
It's Hollywood, man.
There's paintballs flying everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. And I did really well, actually. I did great. There was like 5 games in a row where I went and just ripped through the other team. Because they just keep themselves exposed. And I've done enough firearm training and IDPA to know not to stick my leg out from behind the barrier and that kind of thing. And just like barely peek.
Where'd you do this at?
X Motoball Sports.
Where's that?
Way the hell out on Montana.
Oh, okay.
But there was. This was so fucked up. It was so funny. It was like we were playing, I think, a game of 12 on 12 or something. And it's all dudes. There's just one girl. She's like this little short girl. And she was in the corner. And we had no idea who's, you can't really see whether that's a girl or a guy, or, you can't tell who the person is. They got masks on, it's at a distance. And it was down to me and 2 other guys. We ran through their whole team. It was down to me and 2 other guys, and we start. But that person's been behind that bunker in the corner, not bunker, barrier in the corner, shooting the whole time. So the 3 of us are just going in that direction now from 3 different angles. And then finally she pops out for a second and we just lit her up. We probably shot her like 20 times. She was
Probably doesn't feel
it
good,
was
man.
so fucked up.
No, that gear
And then
hurts still. You still
oh my
feel
God,
it.
yeah. No, we don't have gear. We wear regular t-shirts and
no.
jeans, you know.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I have I've got a huge
welt?
red welt on my leg. We just lit her up and we didn't know who it was. We just all started firing at her at the same time. It's hilarious. And then one guy lit me up, shot me 5 times. But before I could get my hand up, he shot me 5 times.
We do that on an apartment. We have, it's called Simunitions, and oh my God, dude, it's not fun, man. Get tagged left and right, and then they know you. Like, I'm gonna fuck with them. They just put a couple more rounds in you just to get you.
Oh, jerks.
Oh yeah, good times.
You ever tase each other for fun? Or
no,
to see who could take it.
No, I'm not about that. Not about that, man.
That's the thing guys would do for sure.
I'm sure there's people that fuck around with that stuff, but I ain't playing that game, man. So
yeah, I think it'll stop your heart.
I don't know, man. Taser. I've never been tased. I got grandfathered in.
What?
Yeah, I'm proud of that one.
Oh,
I'm proud of that. I did not want to get tased.
That's not fair.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You need to go back and get tased.
Nope.
What about pepper spray?
Oh yeah.
You got pepper spray?
Yeah, pepper spray, like, come on. That's just like your eyes have gonorrhea, man. It just stings and it just from what my friends tell me about gonorrhea, not that ever. I'm kidding.
But going through the academy, you get pepper sprayed and you get tased.
Well, when I went through the academy, tasers weren't available. We got pepper sprayed. And
what did they have back then?
They had your ASP. They had tasers.
Wow.
Tasers didn't come out just about 6-7 years later.
Oh wow.
And tasers were fun though, man. You
got some good taser stories.
Yeah.
Tell me one. We're almost at 3 hours. Just
okay.
Tell me one.
The original tasers were these huge banana, now the tasers are really compact. These things were huge. And I was in K9 at the time, and we got called to the Coronado Hotel down there on Mesa. I think it's been demolished. And one of the homeless people had money for the night. It was a rainy night. And we got called there because she had a guy in her hotel room, one of her homeless buddies, who wanted to stay, but she wanted him out. And remember, this has been over 15 years now, so I can tell this story. So this dude, we get there, and she's like, come on in. And there's this dude sitting on the edge of his bed, on the edge of the bed, and he's got like a fedora on, like an Indiana Jones hat. He's got this long blonde hair, and he's got a beard. He's smoking a cigarette, man. He's sitting there smoking. He's not even making eye contact with us. We're talking to her. She's like, look, he's my friend. We're homeless, but he needs to leave. I need the room to myself. I was able to get some money for a couple nights. It's raining, and I don't want any. I said, hey man, it's that simple. You need to bounce, dude. You need to go. He's just smoking a smoke, right? And he goes, his exact words, I'll never forget. He doesn't even make eye contact with me. He's just smoking, and he has that cigarette in his fingers, and he points to me and he goes, you don't tell me what the fuck to do. He goes, but I'm going to tell you what the fuck you can do. I went, oh, really? And I had another officer there, and good dude, man. This guy's legit, man. We look at each other. So I get a little, I was a young officer, kind of, stupid still. And I said, dude, you need to get the fuck out of here, man. It's that simple. Just get up and leave, take off. He's not moving. He's not budging. So I take his hat. I just fucking chuck it out the door. And that sets this motherfucker off. But it gets him out of the room. Just get the fuck out of here, man. I don't be talking that shit. I didn't do anything to you. I'm here, just go. So he gets outside. We're outside the hotel. And he goes, you know what, motherfucker? Because I'm going to kick your fucking ass. And he flicks that cigarette at me. And like Matrix shit, it just goes right by my head, man. And he starts charging at me, and I pull the taser, and my partner goes, do it. First time I ever did it, and pow, man, I just dropped him. And he found Jesus quick, man. We're like, fuck, man, this shit works, bro. Bah! He's just sitting there on the ground. He goes, bro, I'm sorry, man. I'm fucking sorry. But it's cool. I'll leave. No, not anymore. You're not. I'm like, no, fuck. Now we got to deal with this guy. But yeah, there's some classic shit. I always wanted that. This is going to sound brutal, man, before we wrap it up. I had my bucket list. I always wanted to beanbag someone.
Oh,
I never got to do that.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Beanbag would be cool.
I mean, I'm sure it hurts like hell.
Oh yeah, I've seen it happen. You know, but I always wanted a beanbag. Taser stories are good. Taser stories. that was like 2005, I think. So it's been a while.
Jared Lim, thanks for coming in, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Thank you so much. We'll do it again. Thanks.
Later, everybody.
I gotta pee, man.
Yeah.